Greetings and salutations. I'm Ben, and welcome to the Sunday Night Hang right here on Sundays, hanging on YouTube. Yep, that sounds good. It's Community Hang tonight. We were supposed to have Charles Green come on, tell some stories. He even had some trivia, but he had a work emergency that happened sometime overnight into this morning. So he texted a fella and said, "Yeah, I don't think I can." And I said, "Take care of work. Don't worry about me. We'll figure something out." So, always plan B, Community Hang, which Randy has been saying to me for like 3 years. And welcome, Randy and Bo, Guitar Man 45. Randy's been saying for years, hey, if you ever have a cancellation, reach out to a fella. And it just happened, karma. So Randy's like, hey, it's new guitar day in the neighborhood. And I went, well, bring it on. Let's show it off. Same deal with Bo. He's like, a little something happened. I went, oh, yeah. Well, why don't you bring that by and show us off? So we've got some guitars to show off. We have my cousin texting me right at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday nights. It's like he doesn't know it, that I'm busy. But ran the long intro tonight, so I was able to reply to him during the intro. Multitasking. So I want to welcome in. We've got 26 people watching already. Perfect. Security's being quick. Come on in. We've got Terry's 3Gs, LRM Guitars, Jack Collins, Cousin Doug, a.k.a. the Down and Back Cornhole Podcast. We have Will Varela, the one and only. There's Gary, Guitar 1952, Isu Guitar, GTR. In this universe, it's got to be. There's Lawrence Cash, Fern Werfel, Thomas Santiago, Johnny Love, I Rock Zed Blues, Johnny Love again, Fern Werfel again, Terry again, Johnny Love. Symmetry, he's alive, still. Maybe. Symmetry should come on next week because we got John Duchesne coming on next week. Maybe he should join John and explain this past weekend. That's all I'm saying. JP Page 2 is here. Paul McNary, he's here. He's in his chair. He's got the headphones on. The cat's involved. What are you talking about, Ben? Well, become a channel member and find out on the Zoom calls. That's the only way you're going to meet Paul McNary. He's behind a paywall, folks. It's not my rules, his. I don't know. My knees hurts here. Awesome. How's the drumming going? He took up the drums recently. He's happy. Neighbors, not so much. Nope, not even a bit. Billy Baloney knows what I'm talking about. Jeff P is here. Awesome. Let's go down the bottom. There's John Duchesne. He's alive as well. Christopher Live Sow, Hobo Roadie, Tomsy 49, Keith H, Gretch Zeppelin,
Will Varela.
The one and only Will Varela. Nice. Welcome one, welcome all. Absolute Mayhem even made it. He dropped off a little something here the other day, and he said, hey, be careful. That's like the high octane. And I went, oh, really? He says, yeah, like really high octane. I went, oh, really? So I waited till a fella came by to visit, and then the two of us decided to sample, and yep, Mayhem was right. Something. I didn't do a whole lot for the next couple hours. That's all I'm saying. That's right, Terry. Paywall McNary. New name. Nice. Dig the shirt. Thank you, Will. I dress to impress. They say, you should dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And clearly, I want to be Jimmy Buffett. Nothing wrong with that. Dedicated following. They're like deadheads, but drunker. I said it.
Yeah, and more flip-flops.
Way more flip-flops. Yes. Exactly. Way more flip-flops. He probably has flip-flops out at the merch table. If he doesn't, he should. Flip-flops with parrots on them. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. My niece Hurt says, what is that 112 PV you have? Do I have a 112 PV? I have a 212 PV. Oh, no, that's, what is that? Max 110 bass, PV bass systems. Mm-hmm. It is not loud, but it's functional, and that's all it needs to do is function. It's got the toggle for the modern and the vintage. Like it's ever been in the modern position. No. Nope. Joe Hervey, good to see you, my friend. Yes. So if any of you want to join in on the hang, reach out to a fella. Those who know. A bunch of y'all in the chat there. The 212. Yeah, that is a PV Classic, which ironically enough I was pricing out yesterday to throw up on Kijij. Get rid of it. I haven't used it in years. It's just there as a set decoration as much as anything else. That's why it's in behind the guitars.
You could always part it out and just keep the cabinet there.
Yeah. No.
Maybe put a fridge in the
that thing's almost as old as me, so you don't want to part that out. When are we going to see part 2 of the build? Will Varela asks. Well, first I have to shoot it. It's been busy a week. But it'll be out this Friday. Unless I get really ambitious, then there might be a couple out this week. We'll see. What's up, BC Rich? Did you end up having to move gravel, BC Rich? He has got a pile of gravel. He needs to make less of a pile. Spread it out. Picked the wrong week for that. I'm just saying. He lives in the Northeast. And doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you live in North America. Well, it doesn't matter where you live. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere this week, it's been hot. That's what we're saying. It's been hot. Oh, he did. Finished it without dying. Perfect. Yeah, it always sucks when you die doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to whenever possible. By the slimmest of margins. He's probably using like voice to text. He's just laying there on the couch watching. Hey Siri, tell him hi. 92 right now. Wow.
It was actually cooler here today. It only got up to mid-80s today.
Yeah, I got really. I was only mid-70s here because I kept meaning to rain, but didn't quite. But it was totally overcast with the breeze. I'll take a day of that.
Oh, well, you got more of that coming.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you can always tell me tomorrow's forecast because that's about what it takes to move that about that 5 hours. It's like half easily. Just a heads up, and if it's moving fast, it's going to hit you in about 8 hours.
Yeah, we had some bad storms, and now it's not as hot and humid anymore, but it's coming again. So
I did the stupid thing of deciding to mow the lawn yesterday because they kept threatening rain the last couple of days, and it's one of those, if you don't mow it and then it rains, it's just going to double in height, and so I had to do it, and I decided to do it right after RJ's show yesterday, so noon, perfect, and then all the clouds just burnt off, and I'm out there in shorts going, these legs haven't seen this kind of sun in a while, so yeah.
Just a couple of white strings hanging from your shorts, right?
Well, when I look down at in the white thighs, because the shorts ride up as you're vibrating on the mower, and I'm like, yeah, the knees below that sees the ambient sunlight. Like I'll rock the cargo shorts like any other middle-aged white guy. Yeah. But I went out in the basketball shorts, and they decided to ride up halfway. So all of a sudden, it's like it's the 80s, and I'm wearing Adidas shorts, and those thighs are just like turning pink. Not quite the purple that Doug turned one year. Someone left him out in the sun at the beach while he was asleep one year locally. He turned purple. You had rain today. We may have. I don't know. It may have skipped around us though, Doug. Canadian knee socks. What's up, James? Who else did I see jump in here? Andy Carson, welcome. First time viewer, long time caller. Nope. Not even a bit. But welcome, my friend.
I saw that Janice Lala said she was at a jam.
There she is. Yes. Jam on, Janice. Jam on. Mahogany. I don't wear the Daisy Dukes, Doug. Just sometimes the shorts right up on the riding mower. Yep. I said it. So, Randy, what'd you get? What'd you trade, and what'd you get?
Okay, I traded an Ibanez RGA 42.
Which is a thing. Was that like your jazzy box you had?
No. It's a pointy guitar. I don't know.
Oh, that was your pointy Ibanez. Right.
Yeah, it's blue and...
Right. Hardtail, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was hardtail. It was one of the thinner bodied Ibanez.
Yeah, they're nice.
Kind of a wizard neck, almost. Really.
But this is nicer. and
Yeah.
more up your alley because you're more of a retro guy, and I'm just saying that nothing wrong with that. The ASAT.
Which one is that? That's Ivan is what?
It's an Ivan
That
RGA 42.
42.
it's a good trade for that. I'm saying
Yeah.
I'll
And
take an
then,
ASAT tribute any day of the week. I was saying that off air. They're a great guitar.
It's my
Looks
second
good.
one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what is my other one? I don't even know what my other one's even called. I have to look at it again.
I get that. That's why one of the reasons I don't do guitar demos anymore. People are like, how do you start a video and not know what guitar it is? So I was like, well, I read the damn tag before hitting record and then clearly forgot. Welcome to my world. And this is already take 4, so you're getting it because people are starting to wonder. So you're going to be here all day playing loudly and talking loudly at his phone? Probably. Johnny Love says, anyone any experience with musician earplugs? Think of prevention of tinnitus, etc. for when playing loud. Cheers, by the way, no current hearing problems. I tried earplugs on stage. I found all they did was cause me to sing off key because you can't hear yourself singing as much.
Exactly.
And I put them in to limit crash cymbals and bass, and all they did was cut out guitar. So all I heard was crash cymbals and bass. So then I tried one for a while. You know, the band's on that side, so we'll just put that one in. That didn't really work either.
Well, I found if you stood more towards the monitor, you won't hear the cymbals so much.
I agree until you're booked into a pub with a 5-piece and you're standing on the drums, basically. I'm like, oh, this is going to hurt tonight. You know, it was like when you feel the kick drum on your pant leg, you're like, yeah. But they do have better, there is some, I don't know, maybe it's like D'Addario, some companies like that, they do some better frequency-based earplugs. They may help a bit, but I would say, ironically, I'd say in-ear monitors at that point. Like the ones that Pete uses that have the mics on the outside, so you can use them as basically a filter as well. He said they do block out a lot of noise. So then you could just use the outside mic feature and bypass at a lower volume. That would help. Of course, they're not cheap, and you can buy like kegs of earplugs for the price of them. Or, I don't know. I've had tinnitus since I was 16, 17. 17. And then it really kicked in after seeing Alice in Chains in 1993. They really ruined it. Blew out my
I have
ears.
it sporadically and not very bad, but every once in a while I'll just get that little hum in my ear.
Hey, Chris. Oh, no. Well, between our high school garage band that I was in where we played too loud through crappy amp, well, to keep up with the drums in a cement block basement, of course. So that started, and then started playing with stock cars. Perfect. That's always good for the hearing. Let's play with race cars. Yep. Hey, Sean Zimmerman. Custom mades. There is that option. Lawrence Cash says, I loved my RG421, I believe. Hardtail, Japan, white binding on the neck, totally different than the 470 that same year. 421s, I know those, yeah. Demoed a couple. They're still nice. Avoid salt and fat. Blood pressure is a major vector for tinnitus, Hobo Rody says. Yeah, but that's like 2/3 of my diet. You take away the salt and the fat, what's left? What's up, Michael B? You get it, Presley.
See what Will Varela said?
Yeah. That's more just like white noise, right? Nice. So, Bo, what you got your new one handy there? Now, is that a color matching headstock on it too?
Yeah.
Or is that just it is. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was the light or my eyes but so Bo got all the Telecaster Fender had to offer basically.
That's the body. It's the transparent green Lux. Okay. It's got the matching headstock right there.
Mm.
The back is same color, satin finish as far as the.
It's got the comfort cut on it.
Yeah, yes, it does.
You got the gut cut. You got the extra access compound radius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes from what, like 9.5 to 12 or 9.5 to 14 or I don't know, something like that.
No, it's 10 to 14.
10 to 14. Well, yeah. I was in the ballpark.
Locking tuners, beautiful 18 to 1.
Right. I think they're like the 5th gen noiseless pickups at this point.
Yes, it is. So I love it. I didn't think I'd like the green, but I figured I'd try it, and I just love it. I mean, it's just like it's just beautiful to the eye.
Mm-hmm.
I like the looks of it.
And yes, Gary, belly cut on a telly. I don't judge.
Yes,
my Mexican has one. I don't really notice it. Like, it doesn't seem like much of an advantage, but I guess you notice more when it's not there.
So, and it's not heavy. She's, normal telly,
Mm-hmm.
Unlike mine's got to be at least 9 pounds.
Well, not this one. This is about, I didn't weigh it, but I figure about 7 to 8 pounds.
Symmetry, you need a telly, although you don't need a telly right now. I can't believe I'm saying this. You don't need a telly right now. And I only say that because we know he has a JCM 900 as his amp. And I don't know how a telly would pair up with a JCM 900 too well. Although it might be good. I like tellies from Marshall.
Frets are rolled right here. It's a beautiful. You can't feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
Bone nut.
That is true, Billy. Everyone does need a telly or 5.
I'm keeping this guitar. Can I?
Good. I like to hear that. Yeah.
You should.
That'll be the one I'll be noodling on when I swing by for a visit. My cross is 9 pounds. That's like a third of a Les Paul.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and the case that comes with this thing is like phenomenal.
Yeah, flight case, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a flight case, It's got
that's what I thought. Yeah, the Fender flight case type thing. Yeah, they're sweet.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Blackjack guitars here.
Why blackjack?
The telly would be in Corona, California, and Randy's is Korea on yours, or the Indo.
Oh, that's Indo. USA made. Yeah.
Indo.
I couldn't remember, but it's a good Indo factory.
Yeah, my other one is from Indonesia too.
I didn't even take the tag off here. Makes it look new.
Oh, yeah. The Fallout was the other one. This one here. It's got a P90 in it. And that one's Indonesia also.
All right, so we're just going to do a series of shows tonight, apparently, because we had a couple fellas reach out and say, hey, want to come on? Of course, it's the same two crazy fellas that want to come on next week, so we'll figure that out. So apparently, I got to fire up the old email machine here, so bear with me, folks. I don't know why I closed it. So that was silly of me.
Yeah. I don't have a bad thing to say about G&L guitars.
Neither do I. Yeah, I do have one thing. Figure out your lineage so I can find out what it is that you have. Like when I had that one in for service, I look up the serial number. They're like, well, it could be one of 3 different model guitars or bass, and it's made between one of these 3 years. And I was like, that's not helpful. That's not helpful. Or the only negative is, the resale value.
Yeah,
Although,
yes,
when you're trading in for one,
that is a G&L.
That's
a
fine.
fallout.
All right, so there we go. There. And I belch. Perfect. Oh, that's all the root beer. All right, I see Ben Tom in the chat. Rockin' Chango.
How are you, Tom?
I can talk to John, Chris. Let's see here what we got. Selling my 90s Legacy Himalayan Blue with matching headstock, $1,400. That's not a bad deal. Mikey Newman's here. And Fruitcake Tony. What's up, fellas? 53 people watching. Please
Fruitcake, how are you?
leave a thumbs up if you haven't already.
Hey, Tom.
I get it, Chris. You can stop spamming the chat. You spamming doesn't help matters. I get it. There's Trev. What's up, Trev?
Trev, how are you?
Back home and alive. Apparently still have the video going in the background or an echo.
It's maybe a little too loud.
All right. Well, like we too. I don't know. Levels. What's up, Tom Raines? Oh, here's the other survivor. There he is of the magical weekend.
John, how are you? Can't hear him.
Ripley T. He says, what model Tele? Ultralux would be Bose.
Oh, yeah, this is the Ultralux.
It's all the Tele. Hip Metalworks is here.
Oh, nice. Hey, Hip.
John Dushane's showing off. And welcome to the public here, John Dushane. Thank you very much. For some reason, I still can't hear you. Can you try jumping out and jump back in again? Sometimes that fixes it.
I've had those kind of issues before.
Yeah. Hashtag been there.
Camera, but no sound. And then no camera, but sound. And
Yeah. Nice. 59 of you watching. Awesome, awesome. Yes, and for those that are just tuning in, we were going to have Charles Green on earlier, but he had a work thing happening, and not by choice work thing. Hey, Josh, welcome. Can we hear him now? Still can't hear you.
You can always go sign language.
What's up, Milton? Settings, audio, maybe, check your audio input.
What he said. Okay, if I forward the link to Hip Metalworks, Ben?
You know what I would say.
Go for it.
How's that?
Hey, I heard that. Not
Can you hear
now.
me?
Now I can. Yep. Wait.
Somewhat.
What kind of telly do you have, John?
This is a 71st or 75th edition American Professional 2.
Nice.
Love it. Yeah,
Nice.
it's great.
Very nice.
Yeah, older body.
See, now Trev definitely needs a telly because he's the only one on the panel without a telly.
Well, if I got a telly, I think I'd have to get a telly that had a humbucker and the bridge pickup.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the coil tap, though. You got to have the coil tap ability.
Well, it was
Like mine.
that was saying that he got one of the little mini humbuckers that fits into the single coil spot.
Yeah.
No bueno.
No, friends don't let friends use those.
It's a telly. It's a telly. See?
Well, I put one of those in my Strat, and no, because they sound thin.
Okay.
They just don't put out what they should put out. I don't know. Now they might be better because I had one of the OG ones because it was literally I'm at the music store trying to buy an HSS guard for my Strat because I was going to put a humbucker in it, and it just happened because at that time stuff was always available for a year first in the US before it would get to Canada, and a guy came in that gigged in the US and he's like, well, I got this new mini humbucker. I'm like, no, I don't want a mini humbucker. I had mini humbuckers in my Les Paul. That's P90 size. I don't want one of those. He goes, no. It fits in a single coil slot, but it's a humbucker. It's made by Seymour Duncan. I'm like, what is this voodoo and chicanery you speak of? And so I literally left the store, followed him over to his place, bought the pickup for like $125 in early 90s, and came home, soldered her in, and I was like, it was better than the single coil, but it wasn't a humbucker. What's up, RJ? I will be working on the Beretta this week, Tony. Hopefully. Actually, probably tomorrow? No, Tuesday. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Depends on how late we go tonight. Ha ha ha, Doug. He says I have a telly. I'm watching the show on it.
So I don't think I've shown this one.
Oh, that is the SG Muse.
Nice.
With the
I like it because it doesn't look like a regular SG. You know, there's no other SGs that look like that.
yeah, and I mean, you can split the two pickups, and then you can do out of phase. It's got all the magic in there.
All right. Josh has a gear question. I love gear questions, and especially I think Josh is new here, which is awesome. Random cheap stereo rig question. Don't laugh too hard. I never laugh at cheap. Strymon Dig, first gen, Earthquaker Afterneath, going into a Thunder 99 power amp. Need a decent stereo amp modeler. I'm not familiar with a Thunder 99 power amp, but if that was a stereo power amp, I'd just run stereo out of a pedal. Last. Make it stereo. Make it so. John, your thoughts on that?
Random cheap
I know
stereo.
you've played around with gear on occasion, you know. And then I'm going to go to
Oh,
both.
you know what?
Piece of
Go
gear.
look at Henning's video. Type in Henning Polly or whatever that channel name is. You know Henning, right?
Yeah.
The old guy from.
Yeah, his name actually spells out HP.
Okay. So type him in, and he's got the cheapest stereo rig you can get. $300. You're done.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, this is why I asked John.
Yeah.
And I'm
No,
going
and
to
it's killer.
say, yep, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's great. It's two pedals. I think they're $150 each, and then you can run them, you can slave them together, and then send your stuff out for a wet, dry, wet type thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, Chris. I've talked to John. I've hung out with John more than one occasion. I'm aware of John. John's aware of me. Jeff K says an HX Stomp. Yeah, could. Bit more money. That's okay. He's running stereo out of the Dig into a Harley Benton Thunder 99 pedal currently. Ah, okay. Because we've covered the topic, Chris.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah. Mad Raj in the house. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What do I got to do next with the Kramer? Continue hunting Peck for holes so I can mount stuff. I got to do that so I can get it mocked up, so then I can put the nut in, so then I can mock it up with strings. That would be good.
Does the neck already have the slot in for the nut?
Oh yeah. I knocked out the cheap plastic one so I could take it to the Ardens to find a replacement tusk for the right width and stuff, which it's pretty much the right now. I'm going to have to shave off a bit off the ends. It's a touch wide, but string spacing's fine. And of course, it's the wrong color because that happens every time I go to buy a nut. If I need a cream colored nut, they only carry black. If I need a black one, they only got cream.
Well, what do you want to put?
Murphy's Law.
Switch
What kind of
Sharpies.
nut do you-
What is it? Just Tusk XL?
What size is it?
Whatever, standard
Standard.
Kramer Beretta. I don't know. It's spaced. Actually, it's a Gibson nut. It's a Les Paul nut. They use the same nut. That's right.
Well, if you need nuts, I could send you. I got tons of them here. So.
Well, I already got one now. Thank you, though, Bo.
Did you
I will keep
get
that
the holes drilled in the neck?
Because you'd probably have them in the right color too. No, it's the same neck, so it's already got the holes. I don't have to do that. So other than that, and then I did check the pickup container. It does have a pickup in it, so got that. I don't know if I found the replacement volume pot. I ordered a volume pot. It's probably somewhere on the workbench. I ordered a nice volume pot from Tesi, which ironically enough, Charles was convinced it held a mini pot, I think. But I looked at the stock pot and it was a full-size pot. So it's getting a mini pot, so it'll be lighter, by a few grams, I guess. I don't know if I did or not, Blackjack Guitar. If it did, it was brief. It was threatening rain all day today. What's up, Rock Daddy?
Rock Daddy in the house.
I was waiting for Doug to comment. He always made root beer come out of my nose because I've heard Doug comment that on many a social media platform over the years. Ooh. All right. Picture time. RJ the Mad One. A little off topic, but built by Canucks and a great pedal / preamp. All right. Load. That'd be nice. Poured an hour ago. All right. Well, I should get some right in a few hours. Ooh. All right. Trev, you're going to like this because I know you like the heavier tones, okay? Now, there's two buttons to click on. There's a heavy button and a heavier button.
Ooh, I like it already.
Yeah. Looks like made by our friends at Empress. It's apparently
Nice.
called the Heavy.
Entirely
All
too many knobs, Ben.
That's all. Well,
That's all the knobs, as you would
that's
say.
10 knobs, and 4 micro switches. That's pretty fucking impressive.
That's all of them.
My 87 is, well, that's what, 6, 8. I got 11 knobs and 2 toggles on the 87 Deluxe.
Oh, okay.
But the 2 toggles do the same thing because all they do is it's each side switches it between green and red. But these, there's a gate, which is off, natural, or aggressive. Okay. A mid-frequency shift for each side. Oh, and a gate for each side. Okay, so those are what the toggles are. Then you got your output, gain, mids, and weight. Sure, and a universal high and low shared by the looks of things. Interesting. And I'm noticing his presets, he's running all the gain. The gain's pretty much died on both sides. That's fine. I have no idea what that sounds like, but I bet you it chugs. If that's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing.
I'll try it. Oh, Andy Carson's got a question.
Andy Carson says, anyone have any suggestions on a beginner guitar interface for a computer somewhere easy to use and reasonably priced? Yes.
Scarlet. Yeah.
I got a Focusrite 2i2 for a couple $100, and setup was painless.
There you go.
Boom.
Yeah.
I plugged it in and it worked.
Yep.
So
Is that the
plug and
Scarlet,
play.
Matt?
I think so.
Yeah, it's red.
Yeah,
Right? It says
Focusrite.
Scarlet on it.
Scarlet Solo.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Those
are the IK multimedia ones are really good. Too.
I had a friend, he goes, hey, can you do a setup on an Epiphone Les Paul? I said, yes. He says, I'll trade you this for the setup. Like, okay, can I? He goes, I got to stop and pick up some strings. I'm like, no, I can cover the strings, bud. It's like, setting up a Les Paul takes, 11 minutes. Unless it's absolutely foobarred. Hey, Hit Metal Works.
In the house. Oh, he's at the shop. Right on.
Greetings from the island of Vancouver, people.
How you doing, my friend? We missed you last night, Hip.
I'm getting really choppy audio.
There he is.
Ben Tom got a UA Apollo for half price.
Oh, killer! But I thought you were going for. I thought you were going for the full.
Just got done making a headache rack for a guy playing the Explorer. So
nice, like it.
Kind of chilling out after.
Wow. That's some noise there. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, give me a couple of minutes. I'll be back from another location and far, far better.
And it will be undisclosed.
Cool. I'll be back.
I'm going to go with my knees hurt on this. Get one with 2 inputs because just in case you ever want to record in stereo, you have that option, is what I'm saying.
That's handy. Yeah. My interface is just a single input. I've never needed to do stereo, but it would be nice to have.
I would like to have stereo only for that reason, because beyond that, I don't need more than 2 because I can just wire a mixer board into this, run stereo out of a 24-channel mixer board into this.
Well, Ben, like I hate modelers and I hate any digital content, so coming out of my amp through the Captor X, it would be nice to go into my interface in stereo with stereo effects, right?
Sure.
Can't do that with mine. So that's the drawback, I guess. But,
What's up, Scott Brockway?
Scotty, how are you, brother?
Then Tom got the Twin X Quad. So I assume that's 8 channels.
Nice to see you, Scotty.
Any new pedals this week, Scott? No, you're doing it right. My knees hurt. He's like, I don't do stereo, but I do guitar and vocals. Same. Well, Yeah, same thing. You require 2 channels. That's fine.
Hey, Ben, do you remember back in the day plugging into your Fender Princeton with a mic in one input and a guitar in the other? You remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because like, especially in like the generation before us, like Dad's
Yeah.
generation, right? Where
Yeah.
it was funny. I was watching an interview and I can't remember the guitar, but he's an OG guy, and he's like, yeah, they're like, what amp were you playing through in the '60s? He's like, oh, I played through this, and like, why? He says, because I had one input. Because
Yeah.
guys would come up on stage and like, oh, I'm gonna sit in with your band and just plug right into your amp alongside you. And he's like, one input. That
Yeah.
never happens. I was like, nice.
It's old school problems, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry guys, did Ben ever make it on for a live stream today or not?
Did what?
Or sorry, Pete Thorne.
He did not. Was talking about that off air. He wasn't on as regular time, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I was going to message him, but then I thought, well, he's on the road. I don't want to bug him. Let him be a rock star. And so at about 4:00 my time, I think it was around at 4 or 5. I brought up his tour schedule. And I noticed he played last night, and he's playing again tonight. So he's probably more in that mode. Like after he's catch up on sleep, or he's busy doing something, or he's hanging with the band having a good time, which are all valid reasons he doesn't need to hang with us, as far as I'm concerned. He's doing what we all want to be doing in many ways.
Well, it's funny. I was talking with Trev last night about it. I'm the worst fan because every time he goes on the road, I'm like, damn it, he's not going to be in his studio for us, right?
Yeah.
And, he's doing what he loves. And
exactly. Yeah. So he's been in the studio basically since the UK tour in January.
Yeah.
So and for a guy that's used to being on the road all the time, it's like I always feel bad for him whenever anyone brings up Japan in the chat. I just cringe because he misses Japan so much.
Well, he's got such a passion for the country. Eh?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Pete does seem like a really nice guy. He is. He's pretty genuine. Like what you see on those streams. Like I haven't had a chance to spend a ton of time with him, but he's the same when he came on this channel. He was the same when he was off air. He seems the same in texts. The limited time I've interacted with him in person, he seemed that person, especially after it's like, hey, I know you. So it's not like he's meeting me for the first time and you may, be very professional, etc. After I, met him third or fourth time, it was, of course, that was almost consecutive days too. It got to the point where, like the first time I met him, I don't know, I talked to him for like 20 minutes, which was cool. And then that's when he took the photo of me and put it on his Instagram story as like highlights of NAMM Day 1. He ended up showing me because I'm pointing at my shirt with Canucks with Guitars on it, which he just got a kick out of. So then the next day I saw him, but he was about to do a performance or something. So I talked to him for about 15 minutes the second day. And then the third day, it was literally like the cartoon. He was walking by me. I'm like, hey, Pete. He's like, hey, man, how's it going? Yep, fine. We're friends. And I remember JJ was with me that day. And he's just like, well, I see you guys are getting along well. I'm like, well, us Canadians, we got to stick together. It's war up there. He's just like, okay. And then just being Pete's live stream after that, he's just remembered, yeah, that's that Canucks guy.
Pete strikes me as a guy, well, I'm not saying I'm anywhere near what he was, but Pete had that crossroads, I'm sure, to cross that I had to cross in your 30s, right? It's like wife, kids, career, or this.
Mm-hmm.
Pete chose this. And that's why I'm such a huge fan. It's like, yes, good for you.
Yeah, Tom and I were talking the other day. We were talking, I was making the comparison between like RJ and Pete, similar career paths in many ways, professional sideman, if you will. But, I'm saying like it's the same as almost being like an actor in a sense, because it's not your band, right? It's not your TV show. You're not Jerry Seinfeld, for instance. You're just hired to play this role for this amount of time, this many shows, whatever. So you're always hustling for a gig. And I see that hustle in RJ, and I see that hustle in Pete. And Pete was able to, he made sure he had the training, he had his chops. He did the original music thing, had some moderate success, enough that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that band. Which
Yeah.
you remember the name of the band? That's something. They had, enough success that he was able to parlay that into whatever he was able to sustain himself on after that, whether it be session work and and a bit of side work. And then when he hooked up with Melissa Etheridge after that, that really helped him then become that on that list of go-to people. Hey, this guy's available for a tour. Perfect, because he can learn the material in a day and a half.
One thing that I've observed, and maybe I'm wrong, is like since the pandemic, Pete's kind of really like, it seems like he's almost taken stock of where he's at and what he's doing. He's like, I'll do it if I want to. He's not, and that doesn't mean he's lazy or anything like that. But he's really kind of figured out what's important for him, right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'll go do this little tour that that works for me. The rest of it. Am I going to put myself in Bulgaria? If I'm going to put myself in Bulgaria and COVID haven, he's like, nah, not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, part of that is he turned 50 last year. What? Did I say that out loud? Nah, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I got him.
Unconfirmed sources.
I got him and Johnny Bean in a course of a week on the 50th, because I just turned 50 in June. So
I remember when I turned 50.
Me too.
You look pretty good, Randy, for 50.
Oh, no, I'm 61.
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
No, born in 60.
You're beautiful. I'm 72. I'm like a hard 72 compared to you.
Hey, Andy, thank you very much, my friend. He says, thanks for the info, guys. I've always kept it simple, want to expand and try something new. I will definitely be back to hang out, share, and help however I can. Really appreciate it, Andy. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
And I get it. Yeah. I dabble in pedals. That's my thing. That's why I'm always repainting my tone, as it will, with pedals. So
pedals the safest thing, Ben.
I'm back up to like 15, 16 Boss pedals again, somehow. Those things, they infest. They breed. I think they breed. They must. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Pete and I, like we're acquaintances. I'm not going to say we're like, good friends or anything, but I can text him and he'll usually get back to me within a day, on something if I have a question on something. But I like to keep my distance too, because I know how busy he is, and
I think
they are
right,
they're like rabbits. And I think Pete has I don't want to call him a control freak, but he even says he has a bit of OCD. But he likes, especially being a professional sideman where you have limited control. Like his YouTube, that's his baby, and that was like for a long time when he was getting killed in the chats, and before I became a moderator, because he wanted to handle everything himself. But then the show was growing to the point where he's like, I got 500 people watching, I can't do everything. And plus, Pete can be a little long-winded on his answers on occasion. Just saying. Well, sorry, in depth. We'll go with that. In depth. So.
Tangent.
Yeah, and I think we were all there that day where he was just getting spammed to death, and you guys are all like, "Make Ben a mod. He's a mod everywhere else." He's like, "All right, we'll do this on a trial basis." I'm like, "All right." And now it's crazy, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, what's he off doing now?
He is touring with Five for Fighting. Actually, they're playing like your neck of the woods. Like tonight. I think they're playing in Iowa tonight.
What's the name of the band again?
Five for Fighting.
Five for Fighting.
I've
I've been listening to the CD player in my car most of the time, so.
No, they're not in your neck of the woods. Oh, they took away tonight's show. Maybe they are. It's already. So apparently they're going on early if it's no longer on there. There we go. Yeah, please again. Tuesday in Connecticut, then Pennsylvania, Atlantic City, Massachusetts, New York, Massachusetts, Raleigh, Georgia, North Carolina, Missouri, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. He wraps up Saturday, August 20th. Cool.
Out of shows.
What's up, Marty V? Yeah, Stephen Douglas. Pete didn't go live today. Oh, excuse me. I think my Les Paul was about 12 pounds. Jack Collins. Being a 70s Les Paul. None of them were light.
And 12 pounds, that's a heavy guitar.
It was, because I was not a heavy kid. I was you think I'm skinny now. That thing, 3 songs max. And I was just like, I'm taking it off or I'm sitting down. It's one or the other. I'm going to Steve Ray Vaughan this. And I'm just sitting and playing. What's up, Paul? 62 people watching.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
12 pounds. I've never seen 12 pounds.
Enjoying summer. I know Bo is fully enjoying summer. You've got all the activities on the go, and we're in chat. What is it? Fruitcake Tony's chat last night. You're like, I'm grilling up burgers and dogs. I'm like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, that's summer.
Everybody
I love it.
We had s'mores later on, too.
Exactly. That's when you know you're having good summer fun, when you have like that second dinner. You know, basically, everyone's like, I can eat. All right. Next thing you know, screw it. We're making burgers and dogs for everybody.
Yeah. Some of the dogs were done at the campfire.
On a stick.
Yeah, the kids like to do it on a stick. We stick it on a stick. And
Of course.
Yeah, it's all about the kids.
Fond childhood memories of doing such things.
Hells yeah.
And followed up with the marshmallows, right?
Yep, exactly. And it keeps all the mosquitoes away, too.
That's half the fun, was going out and finding a stick and getting the knife out and whittling it down, get it all nice.
That's my job. I have the kids find them. So.
I just got clothes hangers when I was a kid.
Did you?
Folks didn't like it much.
With the clothes hangers, the marshmallows will just start. You go to turn it and it just kind of pivots on the.
That's the fun part of it.
And there he is. He threatened his appearance, and there he is, Mr. Pedals himself. Coming off the design of the super secret tone that you can hear on RJ's live stream yesterday morning. RJ Ronquillo, not Mad Raj in the chat. So, yes. He had to check. And he's like, oh, that one. I'm like, yeah, that one. He's like, yep. I'm going to say, check your emails at the end of August, folks. Something cool's coming. That's all I'm saying. Something cool's coming. And so he's just popping in, doing a flyby. He's August. It's right around the corner. What's up, Dan in New Jersey? Good to see you, my friend.
You're down in New Jersey. Dan's one of those folks I see all over the place. All the different shows I pop into. Dan's usually there. No, Dan of New Jersey.
Oh, Dan. I thought you said me.
Oh, you get around quite a bit, too. But
I do. Not as much as I used to, but I do get around. I was happy to catch Tone Talk live for once. Jesus, this week. And that was surprising. And it was Rob that was on.
yeah, that was a cool show.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was the guest on this, but we're all high as fuck. I'm not saying that. So there he is, new location, looking just
New
as
location.
as ever.
Oh, now he's coming in fine.
Yeah.
Had to switch. The shop kind of sucked. I'm on wireless in the shop here. I'm a landline, so
Gotcha.
little faster laptop, etc. But
John's back.
no guitar and amp.
Sorry about that, guys.
Quite all right. I knew exactly where you were and what you were doing
There we
because,
go.
you know, I know the Zoom calls. So it's all good, brother. Been there, done that.
How's it going, John? How's it going,
And
Trevor?
again, if you want to
Hey,
know,
Trevor.
Man 45. Randy?
if you want to know what John Duchesne was up to, become a patron or a channel member, and again, see his activities when he's not in this location. That's behind a paywall. Sorry, folks. That was John's negotiation. What can I do? You know, the lawyers are like, "Yeah, you better do it." I'm like, "All right, we'll do it." Our people had lunch with his people, and that's what we do.
We did a little live stream last night, and I woke up this morning and I had to watch it back to see how big of an ass I made of myself. Turns out I don't think it was that bad, but
I think we were okay.
It was a blast, man.
oh yeah, you were there, right?
I was there for a bit, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Finally had to crash. I mean, bobbing for consciousness.
Yeah, it was a good time last night. It really was.
Tom, he was born in 72. He's not 72 years old.
So Bent, you and I are the same way. I was June 12th, 72.
Wow, just youngins.
I was -2. So I'm right behind you.
You're right there, man.
That makes me 10 years older than you.
You know, I really didn't expect 50 to hit me like it hit me. It's that same thing I was talking about earlier about feeling that Pete's kind of not reevaluating, but just taking stock.
Yeah.
Kind of what I've been doing since June. It's like, you know what? This is my first love. I love my kids. I love my wife. I love my house. I love all the rest of it. But come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, you did your 10,000 hours. You can play it, but learn to love her again. You know. And
Of course you can, Presley. You can hang. Josh just he hit 40 this year. There we go.
Yeah,
That was
40's okay.
Yeah, 40 didn't really bug me. 50, I think I should be able to handle okay because I'm hanging out with like you guys. You know, like we're all hanging out talking.
A bunch of old bastards.
Well, no,
Yeah,
the thing I noticed, Ben, is swinging a chainsaw with an 18-inch bar on it is not as easy as it was at 40. That's for sure. You know, I'll limb up. We live on property, so we usually take 6 trees or something like that. And by the time I'm done that, the next day I'm like, oh my god, what did I do?
Gary's going to be 70 this year.
That's
Billy
awesome.
Baloney hit 60. Lawrence born in 77.
Me and Billy about the same age.
Well, Billy and I will be the same age then.
And I don't know what it is. I think
Herb.
You get to a point where it's like just enjoy the minutes and.
Well, happy birthday to Herb. Herb or Herb of Fire. Be Herb of Fire or Herb of Fire side studio. I'm gonna
That's
go with
Herb of Fireside Studio.
It could be or Herb of
Either or, 50-50.
Yeah, depends on how flammable you are.
True.
Hey, Mark. Good to see you, my friend. Papa Blue, 64. Ferd Burple, 67. True, only me. Yeah. That's the 1952 in the hand. I figured as much, Gary. See, Billy Baloney, yeah, you just want to retire and join a dad rock band. I get it.
What's a dad rock band?
Hell yeah.
Basically, it's the same as any bar band, but you're allowed to wear cargo shorts at any venue.
Oh, okay.
And
Flip flops.
yep, and flip flops. Yep, and you don't have to get drunk and carry on.
Oh.
So
Yeah, but what do you do
Should be
for
less
roadies,
floppy. you know,
though? Kids, yes. Kids, built-in roadies.
Yeah, none of my kids would have done it for me.
No.
Mine either.
I think I
Not
tried
gonna
my
happen.
dad, but by the time he stopped gigging, I think I was 11, maybe 12. So when I got old enough to be able to carry the gear, and he only ever brought his guitar home anyways. Like his amplifier always stayed with the band. So
You know,
that's
it's
true, Paul.
hilarious.
Practice can be interrupted anytime by kids' sports.
Yeah.
Cargo shorts and New Balance. Yes, Billy Baloney.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good one.
It's hilarious. You know, my dad was a gigging musician, and by the front door, there was always a cart with a trainer amp on it. And at that time, he went to a tape delay that it wasn't 8 tracks, Ben, it was smaller ones. Remember those little cartridge?
4 tracks.
Yeah, maybe is that what it was?
They were very brief before 8 tracks. I haven't seen them. I know of them.
Yeah. And, you know, he used to laugh at my dad. And it was, you know, when I was gigging back 10 years ago, take a look at my front door. Guess what? There's a cart with an amp on it and a cab. And like,
Well, do you
wow.
still have the 8-track though?
No, I had a pedal board.
Thanks, Jack.
Appreciate it, Mayhem. Thanks, buddy. Yes, Mark's still my roadie. He really takes that serious, especially since the night when, was it right after load in, I popped my shoulder out of its socket. And then I'm like, oh, this is going to be a fun gig. I'm like, first you got to put it back in. And he's dry heaving while trying to put it back in. And then I was like, I'm going to sling the guitar really low tonight. And I just
Don't puke on my gear.
just played it with a dead arm, basically. And yeah,
Trev,
Yeah.
what was that club? I'm sorry, I keep asking you. That club in Vancouver that had the massive flight of stairs.
Had massive what?
Flight of stairs.
Oh, that was the Club Soda / Starfish Room on
Okay.
Richmond Street.
So
Well,
we used
Monday,
to play
Saturday.
this club, and it was you know, your typical urban sprawl, so commercial on the bottom and then something on top, and the club was
Hey,
on
man.
top. And I used to do, and we played there a lot. And every time we got there, I'm like,
Hey, come over here.
because 412's up these flight of stairs with road cases and all that.
Bend down a little bit.
That was tough, man.
Oh, we have a visitor.
This is my wife.
Hi. You guys having a good night?
Having a great night.
Good.
Hanging
You
with
ready
Bo, talking music gear, you know.
Thanks for coming on.
We talked to him about it, so he doesn't have to talk to you about it. So
Thank
we're
you
trying
so
to do a service to the family. But
Oh, you guys have a good night.
thank you very much.
You as well.
I agree, Tom. What's up, Laz?
We're not gonna hear you
Thank you, Laz,
talk.
in the house.
Yeah, most of the venues, you know, well, in Ontario, it's always, you know, that typical downtown core, long, narrow bar, you know, where the bar down one side, band at the back. So you have the choice of either loading in and carrying, basically, you feel like you're walking half a city block back to the stage, or you have the commercial flight of stairs up the back, up the fire escape or whatever it is, which is steep, and you're like, ah. Yeah, it's literally, you're like, what do I do? This is going to be great.
And exactly, it was no different. It was the same in Vancouver, right? You had to double park, pull
Yep.
your stuff out as fast as humanly possible, and have the drummer, of course, the guy with the most gear, park the van, while
Yep.
everybody else went like madmen to try and get the sound check and stuff.
Yep.
All the stuff that people who love rock stars don't think about.
I would imagine gigging Vancouver would be the same as Toronto, like Queen Street.
Yeah.
You know, because it's all clubs up and down Queen. And fortunately, because there is beat cops all up and down, because you know it's so crowded, they're cool with it. You know, if half the time they'll go out and just direct people around you, because they're like, how long are you going to be? You're like, week, because you have to have it down to a science. You're like, 4 minutes, we'll be out of here. You know, they're like, all right, give her. You know, because they get it.
Same in Vancouver, Ben. We never had an issue with cops or traffic people or anything like that. And
no, and even people wouldn't be honking at you or anything. They get it.
No.
They're like, oh, van's loading in. You know, that's life.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, even like the beat cops and stuff, they'd see that you're playing a gig, and they get all like, "Oh, I'm part of this now. I'm gonna stop traffic for you."
Yeah, I get to do a little security.
You got there, Bo.
Yeah. So that part of it was good, but man, getting up on for a sound check, sweating your bag off, that was.
Yeah, because there's no climate control in those buildings.
Oh no. The room is automatically 85 degrees, right?
Yeah, and all the humidity.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah,
Granville
just hope
Street.
someone opens both the front and back doors to try to get some air circulation going.
And then you wonder why between sound check and stage time your guitar is like totally flat.
Yeah, and it's going to need new strings by the end of the night. Yeah.
So is Granville Street in Vancouver still kind of the main drag for bars?
You know, I don't even know anymore, Hit. It's
Well, 50% of what it used to be. You probably find more in the Gastown Hastings strip now for live band gigging places to go to. Like I was saying yesterday, that John Five coming to town, and he's playing the Rickshaw. And the Rickshaw is right at Main and Hastings, which is ground zero for as rough as it gets, right? People living on the streets, there's tents, there's feces, there's needles, there's all that crap down there. So I don't know if I want to go down for that. I certainly don't want to take the public transit down, and I wouldn't want to park my car around there either. So.
Oh, no.
Doug Strong says, holy shit, what did I miss? Hey, Doug. It's basically like the Zoom call. Basically.
Yeah.
Hey, Dwight Bailey.
Did,
Zach Collins. A bunch of people rolling in.
I did a contract job out of a stainless steel for what is now the Manulife building at the corner of Robson and Burrard.
Yeah.
So if you walk,
you're in good neighborhood there. Yep.
All that stainless steel, that's mine. But anyways, the corner of Robson and Burrard, just a block west of Granville, I guess. Some interesting characters, let me tell you.
You know what the hilarious thing is?
There, leave anything valuable there? Nothing.
The hilarious thing about the downtown Lower East Side of Vancouver, which is famous, if you go 2 blocks either way, it's Burke's, Diamonds, it's high end.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's just that one area. It's just a shit show, and that's where they put all the
clubs. Go figure.
Yeah, it's sort of like Toronto. It gravitated. It used to be Yonge Street was all the clubs, and then now it's Queen Street is all the clubs.
Yeah.
You know, because basically now Yonge Street, that looks like Times Square. They just Disneyfied it. It's just corporate everything, and all the cool places are gone. I don't even think the Hard Rock's there anymore.
You know, it's funny. Back in the 90s,
really,
we used to watch King's X quite a bit downtown Vancouver.
Great,
and it was kind of in the nasty area, but it was still good. I sent Trev Symmetry a pic of it now, and the place is all boarded up and totally tagged, and it's like.
I saw King's X in the early 90s at a bar here in Des Moines.
Okay.
King's X?
Yeah, this is before they were just starting to gain some traction, I guess.
In the 90s, it would have been the Dogman album, yeah.
At Harpo's, I opened for King's X.
Oh, did you?
This is why I love Bo. This is why I love Bo. And we were joking about it on the Zoom call. Like, we have a whole conversation. We can have a debate, and then Bo just Boom.
Drops a major fucking bomb.
It drops the
I,
hammer.
I love you for it. I love it. That's great. At Harpo's, no less, a legendary venue.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of neighborhood is Harpo's in? That's what I'd like to know.
What's that?
What kind of neighborhood is Harpo's in?
It's not a very good neighborhood.
I don't think so.
It's in a smack dab in the middle of Detroit. I mean, there's a lot of shit happens there.
So, Bo, did you get a chance to hang out with Ty or Doug or Jerry?
Yeah, briefly. I mean, they weren't. They were into drugs pretty heavily then. So,
Like pot.
Oh,
We had
Doug
two-
sells folks lots of reefer.
the rooms were the dressing rooms are on two different sides. So they had the side on the right, which was much bigger, and then we had the skinny stuff. And they only let us have a part of the stage too. So
Oh
that-
boy.
You know, they said you only get this much, and that's it. And
It was pot though. It wasn't anything worse than that. I know Doug said.
it was.
No, the other stuff you don't do out in public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Doug likes his pot.
No, the only reason I
He
say that is
still sings awesome.
I had the opportunity to hang out with Ty, which is like my Eddie Van Halen.
Did you? Well, this was way
Yeah.
back in. I don't know what it is now. This was early '80s. So
Okay, so
maybe
yeah, this was
'83.
this was in the
You
'90s,
like-
and went on his bus with him, sat down, had some beers, and talked about guitars and life in general. Just sweet guy, right? And I mean, hands.
Yeah,
of
they
God,
were
too.
cool. You know.
That kind of makes sense.
So
Yeah.
were
10
you
years
around
later,
the-
you've kind of been there, done that. If you're still around music after 10 years, chances are you cleaned up your act considerably.
That's true. Yeah, he was pretty drunk. We were drinking Smirnoff Ices. I don't know if those you guys know what those are.
Like a lemonade.
Yeah, and I was kind of giving him the gears. I'm like, really? That's what you're drinking?
That's a.
He's like, he kind of gave me the old wink. He's like, I'm tired, remember? Yeah. Drink what you want, buddy.
That sounds like what he would say.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I was checking out a rig. A guy had his Marshall half-stack pedal board sitting on top of it, waiting to go up on stage at a festival. And I'm working backstage, kind of working as stagehand, roadie, / bartender, because it was really cool because it was just at an amphitheater in the park in town. But we had the local RV dealership donated a bunch of trailers, so we were able to fence off a backstage area and have half a dozen trailers. So all these, local bands that are friends of ours all say, it's like, hey, John, your trailer's here. Bo, your trailer's here. And everyone's, oh, far out, right on. We get trailers. This is cool. And so I'm looking at this gear, and I couldn't figure out this delay pedal the guy had. And I look at it, and I was like, that looks like a carbon copy. And this guy comes up to me, and he's like, what's a carbon copy? I'm like, MXR carbon copy delay. He's like, I haven't heard of it. What, are you new? Like, it's an industry standard. How do you not know about this? About 10 years ago or so. And so, sorry. And so I didn't think anything. I figured he was a tech or roadie, maybe he played in one of the other local bands. I didn't recognize him. Yeah, it turns out it was the front man for Trouble Charger. And I just slagged him. And then afterward, I'm like looking at his other gear, and I was like, wow, that's some really nice stuff. I'm like, it's all boutique hand boys. Like, he had someone like Lawrence making all those pedals for me even back then type thing. And I was like, I get why you don't bother with the MXR carbon copy, because you have nothing but boutique-y stuff. Okay, I get it.
A little side story, Ben. When I went back into guitar playing, because I quit because of my kids having a big life. So 3 years ago, call it. And I'm in a different place now where, those 10 years I worked my ass off. So I can now afford maybe a few boutique things, right? So I got the Thorpe camo flange, best flanger ever. I got the, you name it, just all of it, right? The Origin Effects stuff. You know what I'm back to? I've got MXR, Boss. You know,
I get it. I get it.
You know,
that wasn't my only embarrassing time at that festival, because I think it was the next year. We're backstage, my girlfriend and I, and we decided we're going to go smoke a joint. So we need to walk off someplace because it wasn't legal at the time, and there was a lot of cops around as security. So we're like, let's take a walk. And as we're going towards the back gate, she says to me, "Hey, do you think we'll meet any of the members of Gob, the headliner, that night?"
Theo, I know Theo. I played on his demo tracks.
So I respond to her. I was never a fan, right? But I just remember they got played a lot, and it was that kind of pop punky thing. And my response to her was, "I'm not sure I'd know a member if he walked right up to me." And no, I shit you not. I look up. The drummer is not fucking 4 feet in front of me, walking towards me, and I only knew it was him because he still has the faux hawk.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, that dude. And he's just like, he just looked, and he's just like, you could tell he heard the whole conversation, but it's just like, I get it. He looked, because he's my age or younger, right? And I was just like,
it's funny because they're a Langley band. They're like a band 25 minutes out of Vancouver. And that was the time that I was very active in music and playing and all the rest of it. And my drummer got hired to go do some bed tracks for a demo for this band called Gob. So I went with him. I love that shit. I'll go to the studio and watch him do his tracking. And the lead singer, Theo, he was trying to do guitar tracks, right? And it's all like Green Day kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. They were Canada's Green Day in many ways.
He couldn't quite get the down right? And I'm like, yeah, here, just give it to me, man. I'll do it to you. He's, here's the 4 chords, and do it, and it was all great. And he came back and he gave us a case of beer, and never heard from him again. 2 years ago, when I started getting back into music, so I'm on Facebook and I'm looking for old friends and all the rest of it there. He pops me up. He's all, "John, is that you?" It's Theo, the singer, right? Like, I honestly, it's not my thing. It's not my music, so I never followed anything. But I guess they're still playing stuff. He's like, "Yeah, man, I remember you back in the day, and we had a good time together and had some beers. It was."
Yeah, they parlayed it into the same thing a lot of the 80s guys are doing, which is just fly-in dates. And it's like 2 guys live on the West Coast, 2 guys live in Ontario.
Oh, really?
And they just meet up. And it's like, it's 2 original guys and then 2 non-original, whatever, sidemen.
Yeah.
I kind of figured out the logistics of it throughout the day that they were there. And it's like, I get it. You play these little festivals like we put on,
Yeah.
At that time, I think they were getting $3,000 plus expenses.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So it's probably $1,000 for each of the actual guys, and the other 2 guys split $500, and they go down from the city, which is 100 miles. So that's fine. And you get a local room and stuff. And like I said, it was Trouble Charger was another year, same deal. 2 original members, 2 sidemen.
Yeah.
And then for the life of me, when they came on, I was like, fuck, I could not remember what their hit was, right? And then all of a sudden,
that whole spawn of Chad Cooper bands, right?
Trying to think of that
Trouble
too.
Charger, there was
American Psycho, I think was the song. And as soon as they broke into it, I'm like, that's the song. Because the whole whole set, I'm like, nope. And all of a sudden, yes, that one got played to death for about 5 years. Yep, that's
I mean, it was the Chad Kruger bands, right? Theory of a Dead Man, those guys. There was a couple others, right?
Age of Electric.
Age of Electric,
similar.
way before Chad. But
Nickelback and the spawn of Nickelback.
The thing is, though, is with all those guys outside of Chad Kruger, I'm not going to do that right now, but all those guys love playing. They loved gigging, they loved playing, they loved everything about it. They loved lugging their gear around, and Gob was the same thing, right? He was just so excited about what he was doing. It's like you cannot not get excited.
Exactly.
What he's doing, and it's
I only didn't care for them because, like, as you guys, I'm sure, because it was the same on the West Coast as it was here, is they got played to death because of CanCon.
Yeah.
They were played to death. So if you didn't like it, you really didn't like it after a while.
Yeah. And he never was into that sort of thing. I mean, we had the big Biff Naked thing out here on the West Coast. I don't know if you.
Yep.
We're
played around here a bunch. Actually, singer in one of my old bands used to do security for her.
Okay. Yeah. So Biff Naked. What did you say, Trev? Age of Electric.
Age of Electric. Rhymes with Orange.
Rhymes with Orange. And who was the other one there?
Econoline Crush.
Econoline Crush. Yeah.
Watchman.
Yeah, we opened for Econoline a couple of times in right down in Gastown there. And you know what? The lead singer, I can't remember his name. After that ended, we were going to do something together as original act. But those guys, again, just passion for music, right? They didn't care if they were playing in front of 2 people or 3,000, and they just gave it their all, right? And that's
the way it should be.
That's such a good time. I appreciate that I was there for that, right? And it made me as a musician step up. It's like, you're not phoning this gig in, even though it's your 3rd one of the week. You got to go and give her, because these guys all gave her and they loved it, and it was a great time for music. Like I say, even if you don't like the music, it was still a great time.
Well, and the thing was, like anybody that gigged in Canada, the infrastructure. Okay, the gigs are there, but the money isn't. Because whereas you sell 1 million records in the U.S. to go gold or platinum, it's 100,000 here.
Yeah.
So you figure, you're getting 1/10 the money basically to have a hit in one country versus the other. So as such, you were hoping to just not have to have a day job, basically. If you could make a living gigging across Canada, which sucks certain times of the year, and as such, and now a lot of these guys now, they invested their money back in the 90s, but some of them do have some form of a side gig or a day job, but they still do the fly-in stuff, and which I think is great, and depending on the band, they're getting $3,000 to $8,000 for a show. Why not? Right?
Make some money. Yeah.
And even if that means you got to fly in on your dime, but it's for say $6,000. Okay.
Yeah. Can make it work.
Yeah.
The funny thing on the West Coast, Ben, was it seemed like the Rockies were the barrier.
Yes.
Management would much rather send us up to Prince George or 100 Mile or something.
I remember, that had to, like, Bill Henderson from Chilliwack. I remember reading for years. He says, like, I just won't gig the other side of the Rockies. He just stays in BC and gigs, right? So I always thought, there's no way in hell I'm going to see the latter version or the modern day Chilliwack, we'll say. Right. Then all of a sudden, guess what? They're playing a fucking Peterborough outdoor show, free. And I'm like, I'm going to, my sister went, because we're like, what? Chilliwack? My girl? Live? Kidding me? And he still got it. He's amazing. And then met the band afterwards, and they're just happy to be relevant, like to the point where Greg Godovich from Gatto, Sweet Thing, handful of other, they were 70s glam sleaze rock out of Scarborough. I ran into Greg Godovich at Cosmo a couple of years ago, and I was like, hey, it's Greg Godovich, the Gatto band. And he's like, you know me? Because he's just wearing a pass that says Greg Godovich. I'm like, fuck yeah, you're a fucking bass player in the Gatto band. Sweet. I was like, dude, I reference your band in every Phaser video because Sweet Thing is all Phaser. And it's an easy riff to play and blah, blah, blah. It's catchy. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. He goes, I'm like, hope you don't mind. He goes like, no. I'm surprised, like, because he gets a little radio play, but he's got a day job. Of course, he has no money because he had a really good time about 20 years ago that I really shouldn't talk about on air. But I'm just saying, I've heard some stories. I've heard fucking stories. You can take the guy out of Scarborough, but you can't take Scarborough out of the guy.
Continue it on the Zoom calls, right?
Oh yeah. I will tell that story on the Zoom call because it's all hearsay. But as told to me by Richard Shanahan, I'll tease it. As told me by Richard Shanahan, who used to deal with a guy for gear up in Oshawa, because Oshawa has always been a great gear town because of GM factory there. The guy simply known as the Old Hippie.
Yeah.
To hang out because his band would play around with share bills with Greg's band, and then they'd party afterwards.
Yeah.
And so stories would entail. Hey kid, you ever heard of the Gatto band? He's like, oh yeah. Well, let me have a story for you. So he's relayed some of these stories to me. I'm like, oh yeah. Well, it was the '80s. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's why he's broke now. Yeah. Okay. So.
One thing, Ben is I always joke. I saw this band in Chilliwack. I saw that band in Chilliwack, which is true. I did. I grew up there, but I saw Trooper. I saw Lee Aaron. I saw Kim Mitchell. I saw.
Of course you do, Zach. You're from
all of those guys. But the thing that I took away from that was after every gig when like Troopers rolling up, I'm talking to the guitar player. I'm like, okay, how'd you do that staccato thing in Raise a Little Hell or whatever it was, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I'll show you, right? You never would get that experience in a big city, right?
I was shocked. I kicked myself because they played 3 times in this area over, let's say, a year and a half for whatever reason. And I missed their show every time. I was like, I should go see Trooper. And I didn't. And I kicked myself. And it wasn't like they're playing the local theater that's seats 600 people and it's going to cost $30, $40. No, they were playing a bar a couple towns over. And I'm like, fuck me. That's going to be a $10 cover. And I get to see Trooper.
You get a $6 fucking hot dog and you're good.
Yeah.
At the end of the night.
I was like, what the hell happened? You guys are playing the same places I'm playing. And you had like half a dozen hits.
I remember I was working catering at the Holiday Inn in Chilliwack, and I was setting up a dance floor. And who rolls in? Fucking Randy Bachman. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? What are you doing here? He's like, I'm getting paid $7,000 for this gig. I said, hey, can I carry your fucking gear up there for you?
Exactly.
And we talked, and he sat down on the side of the stage with his Les Paul and his backup. He gave me we played. We played for probably maybe 20, 25 minutes together.
Nice.
It's like you don't find that in those big,
No, you're not getting that at the hockey arena.
No. And I stuck around. My shift was done way before it happened. It was some sort of corporate gig, but I watched him and did the whole thing. And he was just such a pro, right?
Yeah.
Even at a shit gig like that.
Well, he's been there, done that since he's one of the
he's a good guy
for Canadian music in many ways. He was part of that first generation that broke outside of Canada, right? Like. Right alongside Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, you have the Guess Who right there,
right?
And then BTO after that.
Kind of
I love the Guess Who
international act.
Yep. Hell of a player too. Jesus. What do you want to hear? Rock, jazz, country?
He's
blues?
a good guy. He's a good guy. Yep. I've backed with him a couple of times. Met him over on Salt Spring Island. Ran into him in Victoria a couple of times. Good dude.
Going for a smoke, boys.
You do that. If you want to hear a story involving Randy Bachman, again, another reason to become a channel member. I have a story involving Randy Bachman. I can't say on air, but it's a doozy.
So we're having a Zoom.
It cost somebody their job. That's all I can say. It cost somebody their job.
Really? Interesting.
So, Trev, you can remind me if you want. You're like, hey, tell me the story about. I'm like, you got it.
Now we have to wait till after the show.
Speaking of which, since we have a panel right here, I was thinking of doing a series of videos like there. Hey, there he is, the lovely man himself, Boner Jams.
Cheers,
Good to see you, brother. Is it me or is Smithy getting sexier as the stream goes on? Jesus Christ, says it. Boys and women in the chat.
Probably just you.
That must be some good shit.
But yeah, I was thinking, I have a handful of stories that I've told over the years on here that I was thinking about doing just like in a video form, just so they're as a standalone and you don't have to, because they're not referenced to any of these live streams. But like the story involving the time I saw Skinner, for instance, and it'd be like, I don't know, 5 to 10, depending on if I get sidetracked in the story or not. But doing one of those videos. So we got 54 people watching. Type 1 in the chat if you would like to see that style video. Type, 49 in the chat if you don't. Got to make it a little hard. You got to skew it a little.
We'll talk after the show.
There we go. Boner Jam, one of the co-hosts of the Under the Bus Network, live Wednesdays on YouTube even. One. Okay. So there's the story, like it could be a story about gigging or just stories.
Gig stories would be cool. Good gigs, bad gigs.
Yeah, exactly. The time I opened for Anvil, the time I opened for the Killer Dwarves, stuff like that. Which I've told on live stream, but I don't want to tell them over and over for the people that have heard the stories before, But it's
What
there.
about the time you opened for Rush?
I wish that happened. That would have been a good game.
Cool.
Playing some Cheech and Chong with the singer wearing a white tutu. I mean, hello. How often?
Well, the nice thing about opening for Rush is you don't have to be good at all because Rush is going to be better. So you know what I mean? Like the bar is set so high.
Oh yeah, you're still going to get.
It's not
smoked.
like you're going to play them off the stage.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I went out
That's
to the
right,
driving
though.
range with my son this morning, and he brought me a Cheech and Chong T-shirt.
Nice.
Right on.
Hey, Leo. We got a bunch of ones in the chat, so I guess I'll do it. Didn't see any 49s. Okay. Fair
Mine
enough.
is worn.
So I think guarantees at least 12 views on each of the videos. So there we are.
Way to think positive. It's kind of one of the things. Well, you got to be a bit patient too, right? And you got to discover what you want to do. Like, there's 2 ways you can do shit. You can do what everybody else does, or do your own thing.
Well, yeah. So you would probably get a kick out of. I had a comment on one of my repair videos a week or 2 ago, and I thought I did, a good reply, which was the guy said, even at watching at 2 times the speed, all the useless talking more outweighs the fact that I learned anything from this video. So I just replied, most people tune in for my ramblings. Have a nice day.
What, do you
Videos in the chat.
type in "Have a nice day"?
I should have, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
You should.
I don't think he warranted an A.
Ooh.
He was not A-worthy.
No, you are not worthy.
I think I've mentioned this maybe on here before, but when I was stationed in Hawaii on Oahu, I went and I saw April Wine, Triumph, and Loverboy all in the same show.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
An all-star gig.
That would be bitching.
What's up, Pops?
Okay.
and it was
Right, Doug?
the first Loverboy album, which is the only one that I really dug. Was the first one.
Yeah. Turn Me Loose.
I don't have it. There's none over there.
So Mark's got a story to tell. Apparently, he worked security for Larry Gowan, aka Lawrence Gowan, aka Gowan, and Dave Wilcox.
David's quite the character.
Yep.
Yeah, Larry
Yeah,
Gowan's
I know
from
his
the
bass
Sticks
player
now.
name.
Playing pipe all night long.
Yes.
Playing pipe.
That is correct, Randy. Larry is singing for Styx these days.
Still, he's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's his gig, until he doesn't want it. I think at this point.
Well, I like him better than
He's got chop.
Young. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
But the real question is, what's Corey Hart up to these days?
You know what? My kids have
Probably
No,
found him in a
still
pair
wearing
of Foster
sunglasses at night,
Grants.
though, isn't he?
He
My
probably
kids
is.
have discovered Corey Hart,
Yeah.
and every time that watching you say in light and dreams, oh no, I'm like, that's killer, man. Maybe I'm old, right? It's like
Yeah. No,
I
that's great.
hated it when it came out, but it was good.
Yeah, the folks are getting an extra dose of Canadian content here tonight. Nothing wrong with that. Be more of it next week, because John's back next week.
Didn't Tim Pierce play on that one?
Did he?
I know he toured with Corey, but
it's like you look it up and then you read it all, but then you forget because it's just he played on everything. It seems
everything.
like.
Yeah.
And another super nice guy. Holy crap! I ran into him at NAMM one year, and he's just like, I was trying to just do hey, it's Tim Pierce. Walk by. That's it. That's all I wanted for an interaction. Just say, hey, a wave by. And he's stops. Hi, how are you? What's your deal? Type thing. I'm like, what do you care? But he's that guy. That enthusiasm you see in his video. That's him.
You know, we were on.
He does come across like that.
Yeah, and yeah,
I find, anyways.
I just think it's because because he's a professional. Between session as well as touring, without again having your own act, it goes back to the Pete Thorne, the RJ Regilios. I think you don't have a chance to have that super inflated ego.
No, but you're still kind of essentially there to do a job, right?
Exactly.
Kind of.
Exactly.
But they're doing it more for the music.
He was just
as a studio or
For sure.
a hired gun
Yeah.
than wanting to get famous or anything.
It's exactly what I was going to say, Randy. Those are the guys that do it because they.
Yeah.
The
And
reason you should be doing it in the first place.
and I would
If you're
imagine
looking to make money, especially now.
you probably even back then you always get it like a decent paycheck. Like
My daughter.
right.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just kidding. How are you doing?
Awesome.
Doing well.
Well, you guys look fancy. You guys look like rock and rollers.
Yeah,
we're all just trying to be like Bo.
Old rock and rollers.
Old rock and rollers? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Just trying to eat the cat food. Oh, well, it's nice meeting y'all. You have a good night.
You too.
And you do take care.
Thank you.
The carpet doesn't match the drapes for any of us. We think we look awesome, but we really don't.
Oh, thanks.
You
Brett.
look great, man. No, you look great, man. And you too, Trav.
Exactly, Tom. He's as humble as he's made bank. Because, yeah, exactly.
And Randy, you look stupendous for 78 or whatever the hell you are.
I know, right?
92.
92. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to shoot my age next week.
There we go.
That would be nice.
Just settle with a 96 and call it 92. You're fine.
There you go.
Settle with a 96 and call it a 62. You know.
There we go. Yeah, now you're.
I don't have to count all of those,
right? So
Why?
you can do it whatever way.
Hey, unfucking believable. Great to see you, my friend. I don't look great for 25. No, you don't look a day over 23. Youth, I tell you. Youth.
It's all a state of mind.
Exactly.
No, it's about genetics and good looks. You have hair.
Speaking of which,
That too. Okay, I got busted.
speaking of which, I was 40 years old. Had my 12 or 13-year-old daughter with me, the ex-wife, and then my baby. I'm 42 years old or whatever I was at the time, and they ID'd me at the grocery store.
There you go. Yeah, man.
And I was pissed because I
Hell
was
yeah!
shit in my hands.
That's
God
a
damn
big
it!
compliment, man.
You
I
know,
could go the other way. When I got
if
off.
you're single, and hey,
Oh, I have something nice to say about Gibson. Okay.
Okay.
One of the knobs fell off of this Les Paul that I bought, and it was on the bed. I didn't find it until after I started moving stuff around. But I called up Gibson, and they sent me a replacement knob.
Nice.
Now, it took about 3 weeks to get it, but I did get it.
Well, you
That's
know.
nice.
Unbelievable pulled out his Parker Fly today. May need to buy another one.
ooh,
Those
I'd
were
love to
odd
play a
guitar,
Parker
eh?
Fly.
They
I'd
were
love to
really
check one of
odd
those out.
guitar.
I don't know, man. Those are a little out there for me.
Yeah. They
That's the
I
kind of
played one and
guitar I
it's like
think
I
would
kind
really
of
pick
get
up
it.
in.
How about,
Too much for me.
did I? Wait. I can't remember if they let me try it or not. I know I saw one back in '95 in a music shop in Windsor. I don't remember if they let me play it or not. That I can't remember. Because I was just like, that's what I want to play. Because I remember seeing them in magazines, and they're nothing like anything you can find around here. So,
No, I remember picking it up and going like this. Nope. There you
They're bitterly disappointed, no doubt.
Well, when I bought that G&L yesterday, I just picked it up and it was just heavy, and I'm going like, "Oh, this is going home." I hadn't even strummed a chord on it or anything, and I just knew I was going to take it home. It's got to be at least 9 pounds.
it's a
And I don't
slide.
expect that from a telly that often, you know.
No, mine's it's got to be on the medium end of 6.
Nice.
It's not heck heavy.
My
but
71 is really light compared to, like, my 71's lighter than my Mexican one, and the Mexican one has a belly cut. So figure that out. You know, like that, it's light. And I'm like, ooh, I like this because I can play this all night.
That's fake, man. No belly cut, no relief. You got to telly fight the thing for the whole time. Although I will say they had this thing on the back,
Well, yeah.
that little relief thing.
You'll take the modern accoutrements if they force them on you. You know.
That's right.
You know, it's like the
Is
pickups
it a
are
little
lot better
thicker than
they
a
were
telly?
a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
it's
5
thicker.
telly shaped guitars right now.
They
Yeah,
just
'cause that
have
looks
a
a
sound.
looks a little thicker than the standard telly.
It's regular.
But what the hell do I know?
No, it's regular. It's got.
Explorers
Yeah.
for the win.
Right on.
But
Yeah,
you
I'm
put
just
it
using
into
my
a.
mind.
You put it into the Friedman set to a plexitone, and you just karang it, and it's like, yes.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there
then
is
you
something
play a
to tell
D
you
chord,
about
and then you play a D chord, and you don't fret it right, and it sounds like shit.
that.
You're going, yes, even better.
Is there a more unforgiving setup than a Tele into a Plexi?
No, I don't think
No.
there is. And the funny thing is, Ben, we were on a show last night, and my friend who doesn't play guitar, you know, he's played it for a couple of years, and they convinced him to play live on air. This is
I
the
missed
guitar he
that.
picked, into the Plexi Zone with nothing, no reverb, no nothing. He went like this. He went, okay, I'm done. I'm like, dude, I've got other guitars here. He's like, no, that's fine.
Apparently,
But it looks
Octopus
cool.
just got an SG recently. Nice.
I'd still like to get a Tele,
Should.
but I want a Tele with a Floyd, though. I'm
No,
thinking
you
it might
don't.
have to have a
Yeah,
Floyd.
Well,
Shut your
here's
mouth.
one you could look at.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, see, there we go with some humbuckers.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, this is a
It's not a
Schecter.
Tele though.
Yeah, that's
Okay, I was going to say, I thought it was the Schecter. Right on. Cool.
What's up,
It's,
hippie?
it's got the Apocalypse pickups in it. And
The Charvels make a pretty good T-type.
Oh, look at that.
Look
Look
at
at
that.
oh. There you go.
Somebody mentioned there's G in here.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Now we're talking.
That's
Nice.
what Bo does. Did somebody mention? All right.
Yeah.
And now, Bo,
Jeez,
You
like,
put
I
your
swear,
hand on that top
you're
board.
getting up there on par with the legendary BV Ninja.
and then you
You're
put your
picking up
hand on the
contact
neck
with.
stock and pushed forward a little bit, you'd have some serious issues.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
That's why I don't like SGs.
Oh, not this one.
But they
Oh.
sound phenomenal.
I love this one.
I've always dug SGs. Always dug them. But
Yeah.
the necktie.
Exactly. I just got to find a balanced one. I know they exist. They do exist. I played them, and anytime I played one, I go,
Yeah.
"You want to get rid of it?" And they're like, "No." And I was like, "I don't blame you." All right, moving on. You know, and then
Is that one neck dive, Bo?
What's that?
Is it neck dive, that one?
No. Oh, yeah, it does.
That's why you put a
I
strap
have
on
a
it.
strap on it, so it's not. I mean, on my lap it does it. So
Put a strap on it and you're fine.
yeah.
Tom used to
I'm
play
not
a Telly into a
complaining about it. I
68
mean, it's got
Plexi with no
perfect,
effects.
Profile to it. So
Tom, you're a wild man. Nobody plays a Telly into a 68 Plexi and gets away with it. Apparently,
I
Tom.
don't know. I might try that tonight. I mean, I've got that the 68,
You do have the 68.
so I can try it out and see.
For science.
It sounds wicked,
I've done
man. It sounds just killer.
If you dial it in right, it's killer. If you don't, yeah, it can be shrill. Yeah.
That's saying it nice, Ben.
Well, yeah. I try.
Politically correct, you know.
Yes.
That's Canuckians.
Although I do like because the 87 I have set up fairly clean. Single coil into that I like a Telly into that. That's more like a 800, I think. Yes.
what, the 87?
Yeah, the Green Shell, the 87's a 800.
Yeah, I like mine. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. You can play anything through the Green Shell on that. Sounds great.
Or we
Yeah.
could just plug it into a real Plexi right here.
Or you could do that. I can't.
Shut up.
I'd like to.
Not everybody
I
has that.
couldn't resist. I'm so fucking terrible.
I know.
You know,
Hey,
the only guy
gamer.
that's got that I have envy of is my brother Tom. And fuck me, that guy has some gear.
Yeah. He. I know he wants that amp bad.
Oh, he's got plenty of good stuff.
He's got a lot of amps.
Yeah.
And a lot of speakers too. And he's looking for more speakers. He's always looking for speakers.
Ooh.
So what do you consider a lot of amps?
I think Tom probably has a dozen amps.
Yeah,
More than
I
five.
have one. Just one. It's all I can afford.
I have a lot, but a lot don't work.
I have 7.
There you go.
That's a lot of amps. What's up, Tim
What
Thomas?
what amps are they, Randy? Randy, what amps are they?
I've got a Fender bass breaker,
Nice.
15-watt combo.
Yeah.
I got a Boss 50-watt, an Orange
Hey, Ryan.
35 RT,
Nice.
a
See you, hippie.
50-watt Code 50.
What's that
Everyone
one?
check out
I've never
Metalhead
heard of that
Hippie's
one.
channel after we wrap up tonight.
On what?
I
What's
was
it
just saying,
called?
everyone should check
I've
out
never heard of
Metalhead
that.
Hippie's channel after we wrap up
Marshall
tonight.
Digital.
Yeah, Marshall, yeah. And then I have a Fender Champ,
Uh-huh.
and then I have a Pig Nose. And then the Spark 40.
Okay.
Randy has
I mainly
all the
play out of
flavors
my,
of both amps.
my
It's
Fender.
great.
Bass breaker.
Randy has dove. He jumped in, I'm saying, with all the feet. Because
You done dove.
Randy just texted, hey, this came into my life. And I'm like, you have the smorgasbord of the home player setup, which I love. You know, it's like I've got a great selection of guitars and a great selection of nice little amps that sound great in a room. And I'm just like, yeah, you do, buddy. Yeah, you do.
And the thing is, you have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not buying the same thing over and over again. He's like, yeah, I got this. I'm like, yeah, you don't have anything like that. He's like, no, I don't. I'm like, great. And he's like, what should I get next? I'm like, I don't know, Randy, at this point. What don't you have? And he's like, well, I don't know.
He did recommend the 68, and he recommended the Lucent.
Yes.
Love both of those.
My next one is going to be when
Well-
Dave gets around to it. Is the what's it called? The Gold Top AC30.
If you like the 68, the nice Drive A is
That might be a pretty cool amp.
It's not too shabby. Not too shabby. I approve. Lawrence has 8 amps. Nice. Unbelievable has 8 amps. Says, I guess I need to step up my game. Yes.
I just sell all of my shit and get one that costs too much money.
4, 5.
Yeah, but then you limit yourself.
I
That
did.
sounds
Yeah.
pretty bitchin' though, I bet.
Well, that's it though. Anything Marshall is covered, done. So okay. So now
3 amps is one.
what's next is an AC kind of tone, right? I'm not a big.
I think I
fan.
have 9. 9 working amps.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I've been
That'd be
really
a sweet
enjoying
amp
that.
for them, so-
I've been really enjoying your playing on Mondays, Ben, with whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah.
It's,
That's just the B52,
yeah.
and it's literally just my desk mic sitting up here, mic in the
So
room.
it comes through really well.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it does.
I'm holding off doing that again for now until the bandwidth starts acting up better. Because summertime, you always have shittier internet in summer because solar flares and shit like that. So
I would think that's an every other week kind of thing, right? Because we love talking to you,
yeah.
but your playing is really come along,
Thank you.
man. It's
Just
nice.
just woodshedding, noodling,
Yeah, man. Sounds
trying to
great.
remember songs. It's funny. I swear, there's nothing better than someone will name a song and you're like, have I played that song since 1998? And you're able to flub through the verse and you're like, holy shit, I might even remember the chorus too. Now, if we remember the turnaround, we might be
Yeah.
able to pull this off for a good minute and a half.
That was me last night, drunk as fuck. Johnny B.
Oh, you were bad.
Dance Rabbit. It was like, how do I play I'm the One again? Okay. The Atomic Punk. Okay, here we go. Let's try that one.
Johnny Love asked, do you have a favorite amp? I don't really have a favorite amp because I don't just play through an amp. I'd love to at one point. Like John has a great amp. I would like to set up to that at some point, but at this point, I just use them as a pedal platform. So if they're clean and neutral, I'm happy.
But the thing is,
I
you know,
stick with Marshall.
with Lawrence and all these other guys, they're getting so goddamn good with those circuits. If you put it into a good pedal platform with tubes, because I'm a tube guy, you know, they sound just killer, man. They really do.
Yeah. Well, and what's the difference of one of those as opposed to putting a transistor mod into a tube amp to give it an extra gain stage, you know, like a Jose mod? Isn't that the same
100%.
thing?
I
You know,
kind
in
of
many ways.
got that in my bass break because I have the 3 gain stages on there.
Yep. Or
I
like
think the only difference, Ben, is voltage. That's the one thing I've heard over and over again.
On the other hand,
Tom can
one of
probably
the fun things is, and Randy, you can try it if you got an effects return on any of your amps. Just plug your 68 directly into the effects return. Say it's the 87. You run it that way. You just bypass the whole preamp and just use that pedal as your preamp.
Yeah.
Fucking glorious.
Oh, I might have to try that.
Yeah. Easy with the level. Easy with the level. If you're going straight into the power amp, keep your level down to start with. Ease into it.
Oh, I don't get that loud anyway. I don't. I like it. I don't use a lot of gain. I just like to get it to where it breaks up, or kind of gets a fuzz tone.
Tom likes high wattage amps. Yeah, and Tom, how many high wattage amps do you have? Like 14?
I have a couple.
They're beautiful. Nice. Yeah.
A few handfuls.
I stopped counting them.
Yeah, you probably have amp heads like I have pedals.
Wouldn't that be a glorious place to be, eh?
Ooh.
Like I'd like an SL68 or, you know, like a...
I have more guitars than I have pedals.
Yeah.
At some point, I want to get serviced my 2 heads back here because I don't even know what the hell they are, John. But they're all Canadian made, out of Montreal, like your catalog brand, you know, like the Pepco factory or whatever. But they're all tube, and they're each 30 watts. And I thought, matching 30 watt, all tube, Canadian, whatever the hell they are, I bet you they're going to sound like, well, I don't know what they're going to sound like, but I got to get them at some point. I know the last one I turned on, one doesn't do anything. The last time I turned the other one on, I think I saw smoke. So I haven't used it, and that was like 1997. So
the one thing I can guarantee you, it's not going to sound like Terry Cass rig. I don't know how that guy made sound come out of that, you know?
You should run stereo, man. That many amps, you're gonna check out stereo.
I should. I just haven't recently because I just got back into playing. Oh, because I haven't finalized the pedal board to have the full stereo output. I'm still. The delay is the weak link, I think. Yes, a stereo in, stereo out delay. Which I may still go get that memory, man.
Does DoD make one?
I don't know if DoD does stereo in stereo. What's up, Dale Palmer?
Kind of early for that.
Kind of early, but it might be the end of Dale Palmer's night, though.
I thought the year that God was over.
Yeah, he's like a fella. You know, he's got things to do tomorrow. Aren't you supposed to be wrapping up now? What are you saying there, Dale? You're playing the exit music on me?
I will have to be leaving in about 15 minutes, though.
Well, I figure we'll go a little while longer. Anybody can drop out at any time, of course, but we'll go a little while longer on this group hang. And then next week, John DeShane and I are going to pick up the conversation, and we're going to talk Canadian gigging, trials and tribulations, and what it's like to, just Canadian music, as well as we're going to pick each other's brains. I feel because John and I get into these again on the Zoom calls, and he's a character if you haven't figured that out already. I'm just saying. So I just remember our first Zoom call, I'm like, Trevor's like, get John on here. I'm like, do that. And I was like, I like this guy. It's like you got that, yep, been there, done that. And it's like, yep, and I don't need to brag about it, but I'll talk about it if you want to, because that's the Canadian way. and he has no problem giving you great advice because John and I in the chat for I don't know ages, John. I don't know since we came across each other, and it's gone both ways on stuff, and it's just like, all right, I like this guy, and then we start doing the Zoom calls. I'm like, yes.
Well, the thing is, Ben, is especially you. I mean, I found you through Pete because I'm a techie, right? And I love Pete.
Right.
But I came in here into your chat the first time, and I'm like,
cheers, Mark.
That's odd. But I got, I kept watching, and, next week and all the rest of it, it's like everybody loves each other here. There's no egos. There's no
I think
nonsense.
I remember you saying something like when the first time you tuned in, you're like, I'm not quite sure I get this channel or something like comment. I'm like, give it time, John. I hear the third time's the charm, and I've heard that before. Like a couple people like, I didn't really get that in that person.
Music can be a big swinging dick thing, and I hate that. I really do, because there's tons of guys that are a way better player than I'll ever be, and it's not about that anyways. It's all about saying something
for all of us.
With saying something with what you're playing, right?
Yeah.
And Ben, I mean, that's the guy that resonates.
That's the idea.
For me, it's just making a sound that sounds good,
Yeah, that's it. So no nonsense. No, I can do 30-second notes.
That's what I always say. Art, not competition.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing that really turned me on to Ben's channel, and Ben is a person, and he's been, I've been now, I think a year or two now. I've been with Ben, and he's just a fantastic human being, right? He's living his life authentically.
He's a good dude.
And it's inspiration. I mean, Sunday and Mondays are a highlight of my weeks. And it's some fucking guy on the other coast of my country sitting there smoking dope and talking guitars. I mean, come on. What? And I just happened to really, I grew up in the age of shred and all the rest of it, so I did a little bit of that, and I learned a lot of that stuff. And so I've got some experience, and I've got some, maybe pitfalls to avoid, but it doesn't matter. It's all about sharing and being together in this brotherhood or sisterhood or community
fellowship
that we're part of. And I mean, I know there's some weird shit going on now where certain communities can't do this and do that. And I'm like, come on, I have no tolerance for that shit at all. None, at all. We're not in high school. We're all 50-year-old men, 40-year-old and women. Yeah. Let's just love guitar and play together and chat together, enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and not everybody, not everybody has to like the same thing, because if you all like the same thing, it dries up the value of that one thing. And then the rest of us don't get it, that thing. But if we all like different things, it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yep. And the whole peace and love and respect and that stuff is paramount, more than anything, more than music, more than, just loving each other and respecting each other's opposing views and all that stuff
We're all on different journeys.
Yeah, but it's all awesome.
Yep. Exactly.
So let me be a voyeur and peek in on Guitar Man 45 or Randy's or Hips or Trev. Although I know Trev a little more intimately, but it's great. I mean, Scott Brockway, I've never met the guy, but I love the guy. I chat with him on Facebook sometimes, and Terry 3Gs. Everybody's great here. I mean, and Brother Tom. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Well, I haven't seen anybody that's shitty on this community, so everybody.
Well, I think you guys do a good job of
quickly if they do.
Yeah, but you haven't seen me on a good day either.
I look forward to it, Randy.
Mental note.
All I can say is for 96, you look pretty good.
Yeah, well,
I can say, John, you'll see more shows.
Drinking rum and cokes every day,
I was talking to a few guys over the last week, and it's just like, like I've been doing the show for 4+ years now, every week, twice a week. And at this point, I was like, do I really want to, chase down the guest of whatever? And it's just like, you know what? we built enough of a community that, sure, I've made some friends that are quote unquote names and continue to have them on and stuff. And maybe there is some new person that sparks my interest. I'm like, hey, I want to get that guy on and, pick his brain. But a lot of it's going to be members of the community just hanging out, and especially group hangs are great, too, because people get to know each other and stuff. Although we got to keep the group hangs maybe on the Zoom calls, because those are fun. And those are
they're great.
You
can kind of drop the facade and just be yourself a little easier.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's not like, and you guys all know, you've all talked to me off air and or like, so, whatever we'll say, John, it's like, it's no different than when we hit the go live button. For me, the only difference is I may know some inside baseball that I can't say publicly that I might say on there, or, hey, or, I hate using the term gossipy type stuff, but, you might say, hey, have you ever interacted with this guy?
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on him? And I will give you the absolute no BS opinion of that person, as opposed to
that's huge.
The key. What's the key YouTuber phrase, Tom? Oh, I'm not really familiar with them. That's the live response.
And it's about being professional in a casual sort of way.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And
because you never know where
life leads. Rag on somebody else.
Yeah, and it's not like it's just a slag session or anything like that, but
yeah, but I think the more you can be yourself as opposed to something
gentlemen,
scripted,
I gotta go.
I mean, you're far better off.
Thanks for coming on, Bo. Appreciate it, my friend. Brother. We shall talk soon.
Love you, Bo.
Okay.
Cheers, dude.
See you guys.
He's all
have a good night.
I'm a redneck. I don't love you back, but that's fine.
One of the OGs with this channel, Guitar Man 45.
He's a great guy. He's such a great guy.
He is.
Yeah.
Like I say, yeah, he was one of the first. He's like, all right, I'll check out Ben's channel. Like, all right. This was just, I was just one of the folks in the chat like anybody else, and then I was like, you know what? Nobody does anything on Thursday nights at that time. Why don't I go live? It's a place to hang and talk gear, like say, John. Because half the time, it's like I'll look over the chat and it's just everybody's just talking to each other, and some of it's saying, just hellos and greetings, which is awesome. But then there's legitimate conversations back and forth, and it's just like, that's awesome. I don't care if like there's other people that are paying attention to what I'm doing, whatever, in the chat, but that's fine. That's like we're all hanging out at a house party. Hey, I need to talk for a minute. Let's go over here. Okay.
The really cool thing about being live, like on camera, and I'm sure Ben and Barry knows all of this here. We've got another screen here, so you can always watch the chat. So we're having a conversation, and these people can interact with us, or you can interact with them. So it's flawless, right?
Yep.
That's great.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you got, there's people that don't necessarily want to come on camera ever, and they're fine with just interacting through the chat format, and that's fine.
I love you, man.
Yeah.
Or you're someone like Paul McNary that'll jump on just to sit there and treat you like a podcast anyways, and we're just the soundtrack to his day.
Well, Ben had me on, even though I have never put out a video on my channel. I just got the channel so I could watch other channels. So.
Yeah, but Randy, you and I knew each other in the chat, like, I think before I even started my channel as well. And then you came by within the first year.
Yeah.
And, type thing. He's like, oh, you got a channel. Yep. Because literally still to this day, you're in a chat. I don't know, that I'm in all the time. Let's say RJ, RJ shouts me out every single week. Thank you so much, RJ, for doing that. Right. And then someone never, oh, you got a channel? I thought you're a regular here. Like, I see you in RJ's chat every week. Like,
who the fuck are you watching?
Yeah. Are you listening to RJ, or you have him muted? I don't know. But as long as people keep discovering me and we keep growing this, just because I want to grow the community, because it's a fun community that we've built. Because it's not just me, because it involves all of us. Because I just managed. I'm just like, hey, over here. We're meeting over here at this time.
Well,
That's all I'm doing.
Ben, you're the catalyst, right? You're the ringleader and the MC of the whole thing. But who you choose to bring in and who you choose to invite and expand. I mean, that's totally up to you. But all the characters. I mean, look at Trev over here, right? He's been here the whole night. He hasn't said a fucking word. But I love that he's here. I love that he's here.
See, now Trev is much like Guitar Man 45, but he does the Canadian content side of things. Like, because John has gigged apparently everywhere in Vancouver and can't remember a fucking location he's ever gigged in. And so all he has to say is, there's a place, there used to be a green Cadillac parked there all the time, and there was a place with a red roof. And he's like, yeah, it's a so-and-so. You're like, yeah, that's it. All right.
Yeah, Trev knows everywhere I've gigged.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like your Aaron, like for me, because if someone say, hey, Ben, you ever try this pedal? He's like, yeah, you did. You thought this. I'm like, yes. Apparently I did, and I liked it. Yes, according to the chat. Yes.
And that's not a flippant thing. It's just I don't give a fuck. Give me an address and I'll show up and I'll play.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, Trev and I, we kind of had lots of laughs. Yeah, there was that club off Cordova over here. And
you never remember the name because half the time you could play at the same address over the years, and you played at 5 different venues, but it's the same address.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the government in Toronto, which used to be the warehouse, which used to be.
Exactly.
Never played the Commodore. That's one that I'll miss.
It's not too late.
It's too late, man. Look at me.
I'm not going to go see the Tea Party for $150.
No, fuck.
No.
I don't think they played yet. I don't think, but wow.
I saw them. When the hell did I see them? 2013, 2012, 2013, and around there. They played at the Empire here. And great show. And I don't know what tickets cost because we ended up. I don't know how we got tickets. We got free tickets because they couldn't go. But we gave him a 6-pack of beer because it was nice. They gave us free tickets. So, and he like Rich just messaged me. He's like, "Hey, you want to go see the Tea Party?" I'm like, "I guess." Like casual fan. And he's like, "Free tickets, 8th row." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, okay." I just have to drive, pick him up, and pick the tickets up. And I'm like, "Okay, we can do this." And then we get the tickets, and it's not 8th row; it's 6th row, so even better. And they were only like $30-$40. Oh, is Pete live?
Notification.
Well, there we are.
Pete's gone live?
I don't know if he... Yeah, he's live.
Well, there we are.
Well, thanks for coming out. Don't let any of the ass kick you in the door on the way out.
Sorry to butt in there with your show, but we're all Pete fans, so I figured...
I may drop in after this. We'll see. I don't know how good it'd be at moderating. Hey, Ben, can you find this? No, I can't.
Did you see that nonsense, Ben? Yes, I did. Don't give a fuck. It's like that thing that's going around on Instagram today. I woke up this morning. I didn't give a fuck. Had my coffee. Still didn't give a fuck. Like, yep, that's me every day.
Yep.
It's a good way to be, I think. Don't take the
it's an easy way to separate the wheat from the chaff.
That's one thing about getting older, and that's the 50 reflection thing, is everybody takes everything too seriously.
Mm-hmm. I've kind of gone the other way.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Got to build.
Enjoy it while you can.
I've noticed a few people saying that I'm a little quiet today. You all need to understand what we did yesterday. We started drinking at 10:30 in the morning. And
I heard
there was tequila, there was 18-year-old scotch, there was beers, there was vodka sodas.
Tequila? Oh.
There was Gorilla Glue. and there was mushrooms. I did about a gram of
Not for
mushrooms.
me. I
yeah.
don't do any of that nonsense.
I was
set on watching the sun come up, so he kept poking me and waking me up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Come on, get up! It's time to keep drinking. The battery's a little low.
I'm not gonna say that Guitar Man 45 may have mentioned you two off air before we went live, and I had mentioned that John was coming on next week, and he's like, "Yeah, you'd be lucky to see him in the chat tonight." I don't know, type thing, and well, we'll see. And sure enough, there you guys were, and we're like, "All right," and then you're like, "We'll come on." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, all right."
You know what the thing is, though, is it's never as hardcore as anybody thinks. You know, between all of us, we maybe had 10, 12 beers each, and these guys did some weed stuff, but that's it. Just hanging out, eating food, and typical Canadian, what do you say, Canadian Saturday?
Over the course of an entire day, it's diddly.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, at our age, we all know how to pace ourselves accordingly.
Yeah. I woke up this morning, I'm like, don't feel so
Sometimes
good.
I forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there is a few times I have done that. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, okay, I'm going to need a nap because I apparently can't do that anymore. You know?
I got up and Trev was already gone. He left, and I was waiting because I didn't want to wake him up in the room that he was in. And I'm like, yeah, it was like 12:30. I'm like, where the fuck are these guys still sleeping? So I went in there. They're gone. So I'm like, well, might as well have a beer and a smoke and watch some F1 racing.
Yeah, I hear you.
I crashed on a couch, and Mystery kept jumping up on the couch. Mystery's one of John's dogs, and she likes to cuddle. She's a big girl and pretty pushy. She kept. So I got up at 8:30. I can drive. That's motor.
He went to bed at 4:30.
Yeah.
So he was not okay to drive. Wasn't your best decision.
I remember those days.
I was just thinking, I remember one year down south partying in Charlotte. The big party night was always the Saturday night before the big race because everyone's packing up the next morning after the race. So they always had some shitty band playing. I never went to see it. They were really shitty. I'm like, how do you get such a shitty band year after year? It's not the same band. Like one year, the guy had a fucking iPad for the lyrics, but he refused to have it at the mic stand. So he kept going back to the drummer to read a bunch of lines. And oh no, and I was just walking away. So I went out on a tour the one year, as one does, and I was here. I think it was Doug, his wife, and his kid. So I decided to go on a tour, and by the time I came back a few hours later, I believe it was either Doug or his wife was like, "What do you want?" And I said a variety of things. And that I picked up along the way, apparently. And he's like, "Do I have to be worried?" I'm like, "Oh, no. And it's like, all right. You know, eventually we did crash out. And then the next day I texted Richie, and he's like, "What'd you get up to?" And I said, this. And he went, "Really? You shouldn't do that and that." I was like, "Oh, well, good to know. I survived."
Mental note.
Oh, just 1 year partying it up. You were good, Doug. You were good that night. It was the Saturday that it was just the four of us down there that I kind of went out, and I was doing various substances throughout the evening and night.
You still remembered, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Oh no, it was great because it was great. I was doing stuff that was counteracting it. Hey, I'm kind of crashing out. Hey, do you want some of this? Yes, I do. Normally I don't, but in certain times and places I do. This is that time and place. So I did that, and that allowed me to go a different direction. And then, would you like some of this to combat that? Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
No matter what you offer me,
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Pleasant evening.
Yeah, Southern hospitality. It was very hospitable that evening. Because I think it was one of those, anybody that had anything, they're like, "You're the rock and roll guy. You want," yes. I will be that cliche, at least for tonight.
Right on.
One thing I've always been dying to ask you on air, Ben, is, do you realize that cornhole means something entirely different on the West Coast?
No, it means that in other places too.
Okay.
I think that's a
Okay,
world.
that's it. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because every time you guys say it, I'm like,
Well, Beavis and Butthead, you know.
it's like it's a automated response.
There's
I
a
can't
time and a place, LRM. I'm not saying, well, that's more of a story for the Zoom call, but I cannot confirm nor deny possibly the last time doing a certain substance off of a guitar pick at an after party at a NAMM show
That's
event.
cocaine. Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, this is pretty rock and roll.
Well, I don't remember
How
it.
do you know that, John? No idea. I know I can't snort fucking butt up my nose. That's
Somebody may have noticed I was still on East Coast time and I was kind of lagging. It was an after party, after an event, after NAMM, whatever, So yeah. No, wait, that may have appeared at the party, the NAMM show. It was a private event, and I was like, all I have is Life in the Fast Lane, that opening lick. I'm like, when in Rome.
If you trust it, sometimes you got to roll with it, man.
Yep.
Like Steve Winwood?
Well, you know what? I didn't roll with it last night. I was having none of it. And I was the guy that was up keeping these bastards awake because they anesthetized themselves.
The temptation to go and wake you up at 8:30 in the morning was strong, but I resisted.
You should have done it, man, because I would have got up and had a beer with you.
Yeah, and I'd probably still be there, and tomorrow at work would be a nightmare.
Yeah, so you'd be right here beside me on the couch.
Memories.
Good times, boys. Good times. And
Hey, you only go through life once. Enjoy it, right?
well, the thing I've learned is the only time I do that is when my wife takes my kids on a camping trip. So it's 2 or 3 times a year. Other than that, no percentage left anymore. 50 years old. Don't need it. Just like you, Ben, right? Why are you drinking? I don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. It got to the point where I'm like, I only drink on air. And now I smoke weed on air, so I really don't need to drink. So I'm good.
And I'm one of those guys that freely admits I don't drink because I like the taste of it. I mean, I do with scotch and all that stuff. But that's not the primary reason why I drink. I drink to get drunk.
Yeah, I drink to get a buzz.
Yeah.
That's why I don't drink near beer.
So it's limit my times when I do it. And when I do it, we do what we did last night.
Sure.
With no guilt.
And keyword limits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Personal limit, just,
Well, I
You
mean,
have to
Jesus
use
Christ, I think about it. It's terrible because, I mean, Eddie was my hero, right? Eddie Van Halen. And 65 years old. Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was honestly, when I remember exactly where I was when I heard the news, and I cried. I mean, I'm an old man. I don't cry anymore. And I cried.
I'll admit to that, Doug. That's true. That is fucking
Okay,
true.
wait till you hit 60, and then you'll find out there'll be things that just make tears start coming out for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, that's because, Doug, there's a time and a place, and there was a time and a place. Because what Doug's referring to, okay, so I missed going down to Charlotte one year, John. Okay. He bought a case of beer down there, like you would.
Yeah.
And it was just him, his wife, and his kid, and friends, And he, I think, drank a 6-pack over the course of a week.
Nothing.
Beer. Whatever, right? So the next year I'm back. So it's the year the 4 of us, with the Saturday night.
Yeah.
Okay. So he bought a 2-4, and he was out of beer in about 3 or 4 days. So, and there was a comment, you didn't go through that much last year. And all he said was, he wasn't here. And John, I'm fully willing to take the blame. Because he just let loose and had a grand old time.
Trev came over yesterday. I had 24 Grolsch. These guys.
Grolsch.
Oh,
in my fridge. And I said, we need to go for a beer. And he's like, what? I said, no, we need to go. Went and got a 24 pack of Coors. Guess what? There's no Coors left.
Yep. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel buyer's remorse. Do it. Get it out of your system. Move on.
Yeah, exactly.
18-year-old Fiddick was a treat, though. That was a really good style.
That was a special treat.
Yeah. God, I remember the Charlotte trips. Geez, especially when we go down for 2 weeks. I drink more in those 2 weeks than I did probably the rest of the year combined.
No. Well, we used to. Well, maybe we'll save this for next week if I'm going to be on. I'll tell you a little story about our Mexican adventures pre-COVID and stuff. That would be probably a good story.
That would be a fun story. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll save that for next week, folks.
Yeah, there's a couple.
39 of you still watching after 2.5 hours. Awesome. Going up against both Pete Thorne and Metalhead Hippie.
Oh, boy.
Looks like Pete's in a restaurant having some kind of soup. Got a very attractive.
Even Trev's on here, but he's watching Pete.
I could put him picture in picture if you want him to be on our screen here.
No, it might
That's
get
why
a copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching Pete shows. Always informative.
Yep.
You know, the funny thing is, Ben, going back to Ben,
many times. It's all good.
Go ahead.
Well, you're going to cover a lot of the same topics over time because part of it is new people discover his channel all the time, and other times people don't listen unless it's involving them, And that's a fact. And it could be, or something as simple as you might be busy talking with someone else in the chat, or something. It could be a variety of reasons, but and especially when it's super chatted, the question, like you'd see sometimes people get pissed off. Pete only answers the super chats. No, Pete just tries to answer all the super chats, and then if there's nothing, he will pick out other comments that pique his interest. But if not, he's done like 200 and something of these things. Like
he's pretty good at it.
Yeah, and he's covered a lot of the topics multiple times.
It was a quick one, I guess, just to say hi.
That's it. It's over.
That'll be an easy replay to go watch.
There we go. But that's the thing, Ben, is like with Tone Talk. I mean, I'm a big Dave Friedman fan. You guys know that. I prefer it when there's no guests. It's just Ask Dave, and we're talking tech. With Pete, I don't like him on the road, and I don't like him with guests. I'm being honest, right?
Although I do like his episodes with guests, like he is a good interviewer.
Because when he does it, he does a Kim Mitchell or
awesome.
he does a Kim Mitchell or a Ian Thornley or somebody great. Right?
And he always
the Thornley one was good.
Yeah,
but it's the same on your show, right? Like it seems like, and maybe I've just been around long enough now, where it's like I know all these guests. They're part of the community, right? Whether it's Aaron from Albus or JJ or Charles Green or any of those guys, right?
Yep.
It's like we're just all having a conversation, right? And that's what I love the most.
Well, that was the genesis of this show.
Get Phil calling on from Def Leppard. I don't give a fuck. Good for you. You're good. I like you. You're fine.
Unless he wants to talk the same gear nerdery that we usually talk about, then I'm all for it.
Exactly, right? Like any of that stuff, just I'd rather talk to Ben than Phil.
Well, it's like when I first started the show, I was trying to figure out, like, do I do interviews? And then I realized I forget to ask like so many questions, So then I'm like, I'm a terrible interviewer that way. So I'm like, let's just hang, and have a conversation, and especially with the chat involved, I can let them ask the questions, so I don't have to remember to ask any necessarily, unless something piques my interest or what have you.
Yeah.
And let's not make it so much like the Tonight Show where you're there to plug whatever you're there to plug. Let's just let's hang out in the green room and have that conversation.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Exactly. And and a lot of us we've all been there and done that in many ways in life, whether you've played with bands or you've never played with bands, you're just getting into guitar, but you've always loved music.
Yeah.
We've all taken a similar journey, and we've all ended up here in the fact that we all start out, become music fans, we really dig it, we start reading the magazines, whether it be your Hit Parader or your Guitar World, depending on which way you go, or both.
Yeah.
And we're interested. If you read an interview with somebody and it's just one of those good long form interviews that we used to read in print, which are now basically podcasts.
Yeah.
For me,
Those were the interviews you wanted to read because you really got to understand the artist in many ways.
For me, it was the Rolling Stone, reading articles in the Rolling Stone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Randy, you're 100% right. The other thing I used to love was Guitar for the Practicing Musician. They used to do these just exhaustive interviews with, guitar heroes or, guitar guys. And they would go all the way down to, what's it like playing on stage, to what gauge of string do you feel you need to play in Belgium as opposed to, and it was just a pleasure to read, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I was seeing the comments. Yeah, Charles is a great guy. And Charles could be all puffy chested. Talk about been there, done that. He fucking worked the door at the whiskey.
Yeah.
And then someone like me, I'm like, that's the job, because there's the band playing, and you can, you get to hear them and see them, and I'm fine with side stage. It's not gonna be as loud. Perfect. And then who the fuck's walking through that door? Everybody.
The biggest thing I like about Charles, somebody will ask him a question, and he's the first guy to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
A guy that has that much history in Providence, and, he'll be the first guy to say, no, I never met whoever, X.
Yeah. Whereas he could, oh, yeah, great guy. Oh, yeah, great guy. Oh, yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
And we don't know the difference.
Boatload of people.
We can't
And
look
it
at the
doesn't
work
matter
schedule and saw who worked where at what day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you meet the guitar player for Winger, Red Beach? Oh, yeah. Then he'll have a story, and he'll tell you, right?
Yep.
He was like, no, I didn't meet him.
I think that Charles Green documentary would be a movie I'd go see. That'd be a great story.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
would,
you're right.
because, it's one of those things, because it's a different viewpoint, and you can tell the story of the Sunset Strip in many ways, but it's through Charles's eyes in many ways. And and I will say, as much as, and he will be back in a couple of weeks. We've rescheduled, and as many as the awesome stories he's told on air, I've heard a few doozies off air too.
Yeah, I can imagine the stuff you can't.
Oh, no doubt.
That's a guy that could do just strictly behind a paywall if he wanted to, and just.
No.
What would it take to get Charles into a Zoom hang so we can pick his brain about a few of those stories?
Oh, exactly. But the thing is, Charles is so Charles, for lack of a better term, that he doesn't want to speak ill of the dead. He never likes to speak ill of anybody, because he's seen people at their best and he's seen people at their worst. Believe me, telling me a couple.
That's what makes the man so endearing.
Yeah.
He is so endearing because he respects boundaries, and he can
does.
dance and give us some salacious shit that we like to hear.
Yeah, how many times you hear Charles he'll pause and go, well, I guess it's okay to talk about it now.
Yeah.
You're like, it was 40 years ago, Charles. I think they're okay with it, as long as it's obviously not something too inside baseball.
Yeah.
Which, he overheard a lot of conversations when Motley Crue signed that first deal. I'll say that, because we know he was right there with them through those,
That's a perfect example, though, right, Ben? I don't give a shit about Motley Crue. I couldn't care one way. I'm ambivalent, right?
Yeah.
but everything he talks about them, I'm there. I'm sitting right beside him
Yep.
at the stage door.
He's a
I'm
great
listening to
storyteller.
Nicky. Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
good, right? And then I go back and I listen to, Too Fast to Fall in Love, or was it? I can't remember. Some songs is like, oh, these guys aren't, they're better than I thought they were.
Well, yeah, and I remember,
he creates that.
and he's so open-minded. Like I remember, I think it was the first time we were doing the show together, and we were talking about our first album, because I had a copy of the original release with the extra track, and I said, man, they were so punk rock. And he looked at me like, holy crap, they kind of were, weren't they? I was like, yeah, like they were rock, but there was a lot of punk rock in that first album in many ways, like the rawness of it, and that, and the way it was mixed, and because it was low budget, and it just had a very punk vibe to it in many ways. And he's like, yeah, it's like, thank you, like validated me in many ways to myself. But Charles was willing to even look at that viewpoint, because my God, he's probably listened to it way more than I ever.
Again, though, it always keeps coming back to this, Ben. Doesn't matter who you bring into the circle. They're one of us or they're not. And if they're not, they don't last. Charles is one of us.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, enough said almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's great guy. Great resource.
He does, Tom. Charles needs to write a book. Or he could do an audiobook. He could do his own audiobook.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like we figured, he was going to become a recurring guest, because like the first time he jumped on, I'm like, there's no way we're going to do this in one night. He was like, I don't think so either, Ben. I don't think so either. And I was like, yeah, I may even make my own one separate playlist just for Charles Green,
And he's a big present on Fruitcake Tony's show, right?
He is.
Yeah. And again, Fruitcake Tony. And again, this is me getting back into this after being a pro musician and hanging it all. So what's on YouTube? Fruitcake Tony, show us your pick. I'm like, really? What the fuck is that? 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, this is awesome.
Got my
And,
hand
yeah, and it's instantly, it's like, oh yeah, you're
Next week, Scott. He's like, you need John DeShane on by himself. Next week, Scott. Next week.
He's a great guy, man. Fruitcake Tony. And so is Scott Brockway.
Yep.
Thank you, Scott.
Will Varela.
But it's funny, you meet those communities and you kind of click on. Yep. Click off. No. It's, you always tell when somebody has a negative agenda or a ulterior motive, And I'll stop now before I keep going.
Well, I say, we should probably wrap things up. We have gone over 2.5 hours. We still got 34 people watching, though, which is pretty damn cool. So, do appreciate that. Even if you like 1 meg pots.
I've had gigs with less people at it, so this is awesome.
It's funny. I'll end on this, Joe. It's funny, like you say, gig locally. That's basically what it. With a handful of stuff in Toronto to try to make it, whatever, right? And I knew we weren't going to do it because I'm pushing.
Is this place
40.
even open?
Well, I'm pushing 40. We're not marketable. I know. All I'm hoping is when we get scouted is one of the scouts likes one of our songs and wants to give it to a bunch of kids and make a hit with it with them, and then we'll get the fucking songwriting. Perfect. I'm okay with that. All the money, none of the work, for whatever, one hit wonder. That's what I was hoping for. So after a while, start getting into doing YouTube and this hang thing, and especially when I was playing originally a few years ago on here. And the guy's like, it's not the same as playing in a band, right? No, it's different. But I'm like, dude, I'm playing to as many people as I play to at a bar around here. Like 40, 50 people. You're not playing to many more than that these days. if you're a bar band at a crappy bar, because it's only the crappy bars that hire bands around here.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, I have a blast. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, few people super chat me, you make $20, $30. They're like, well, fuck, I only make that anyways if I play a set. My cut. I'm like, exactly. And I don't have to load in or out. So the difference is you're playing for a room full of fucking guitar players, which can be fun.
Ben, one of the gigs that we did, we played in North Vancouver, and we played literally for the bar staff.
I did that.
Had the 20-foot guitar cables, so you'd go and sit on a chair while you're playing, and the waitress would come sit down, pour a beer for you, and pour it in your mouth. It was just comical, right?
Awesome.
Okay. How about
Where
this?
is that?
So we talked about, how all the bars are super long and narrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, lovely. It was a little wider. So we load in, have to go all the way to the back, upstairs, because we're playing on the second floor, which is a pool hall.
Yeah, of course.
Stage at the other end.
Of
All
course.
the way back across. Fuck, okay. Do that. That entire room, there had to be, let's say, at least a dozen pool tables. Because it's the whole fucking room. With a temporary bar set up at the end. Just because, they don't usually have bands, apparently. Fuck,
I know how this is going to end. Yeah.
The bartender, one waitress that they sent home after the first set, my girlfriend, one other friend of the band that helped bring up gear because she had a truck too.
So you really packed the place.
And apparently an ex-band member who I'd never met showed up for the last 3 songs.
Now,
It's a pretty good ratio, though. Two girls, one guy. Hey.
I said to the band leader, I said, after the first set, because we're supposed to do 2 sets apparently, or 3, I don't know what it was. I'm like, do you want me? I'm going to go to the bar staff and see if they just want us to pack up, because we were playing for the door.
Yeah. Bummer.
Out of town.
I will say this, Ben.
Yeah.
The one in North Vancouver, it was playing for the bar staff, and somewhere 30 odd minutes in, another girl came in, and I hit on her. And that's all. It's like, okay, do your thing, man. There's nobody here.
Yeah, we just used it as a rehearsal. When nobody showed up, we're like, this is a rehearsal. So. And I remember they're like, well, let's play this one song. I'm like, I don't know how to play that song. They're like, well, fuck it. Does it matter? I'm like, I suppose you're right. It doesn't, does it? There's nobody here.
Yeah. I think it goes like this.
Yeah. So I think I actually sat it out. I went and got a beer. That's right. I didn't. Fuck it. I wasn't driving, so I was like, this night's gonna cost me. I'm gonna have a bar.
You've been playing around where you look at the drummers. You want to take a one at this one, or is it me? He's like, nah. Okay, so I'll go talk to her. The one girl, the one single female in the place, and not even a, nothing's odd here. This is, that's what we do.
Well, there you go, folks. On that note, we'll be back, John and I, 1 week from tonight. Tomorrow night, Canucks with Guitars, myself and Terry co-hosting. Tom's taking the week off because it's summer. So he's taking the week off. And then what do we got coming up this week? Soda Pop Tasting. Got to shoot that. Got to put a Kramer together, at least partially. Well, I got to put a Kramer together for 20 minutes, John, is what I'm saying. I need to put a Kramer together for 20 minutes because that's a video. Although 20 minutes edited. Because the last video that was 15 minutes, the fitting of the neck into the neck pocket, I realized once I edited it, it was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No, that was an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I haven't downloaded, man. I need to watch it here once I get a minute.
Well, because what am I going to show? An hour of me going,
No, fuck that.
Because in the fit, and of course there is it's going to fit. Oh, for fuck's sake, it isn't even close. Oh, great. Okay. it's one of those. It's what I do. I used to be able to repair these things like in no time, and well.
I love you to death, Ben. But if you said you got to send your guitar to Ben to get fixed, I'd say no. I'll deal with it myself.
It used to be so much better. I set up that Kramer, and it plays great. And I've had people that play wiggle stick guitars like for a living. And they're like, "Oh, this thing plays great. Who set it up?" I'm like, "I did." They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "I know." Shocked as you are.
That's awesome, Ben. I love you to death.
That would have been better.
It was set up nice. Well, you know me, John. Like, it was set up nice, and then our friend Adam at fu-tone.com, hooked me up with all the parts, right? Just hot rod the Floyd, and it's like, and you got to take that Floyd down to nothing. I'm like,
isn't that a pain in the ass?
I'm like, okay, I got a mechanical background. Okay, no big deal. And I'm like, wait, there's like a little plate you don't need because it just sucks out tone, but I couldn't remember what it was. And so then I messaged Adam, and Adam's like a little busy because he's working on Phil Collins guitars.
Yeah.
So I get it, because real rock stars. But they got back to me, and it was awesome. Boom, boom, boom.
I will argue that plate is necessary.
I don't know if it's on it right now. Probably not.
Yeah.
It might be, but it might not be. I don't know. So, I got her all back together, and somehow, I don't know if I remembered turns of the claw, but then the springs were different, so I actually had to go 2 springs that are as strong as the 3 original that were in it. And I'm like, oh, god damn it, all right.
Yeah.
And once I figured it out, then I was like, okay, because it's all about balance. And then once I figured that out, watched a couple Dave's World of Fun stuff, because that guy can set up a Floyd with non-Floyd tools if needed. And I didn't have the intonation tool. That's fun, setting the intonation on a fucking Floyd Rose without the intonation tool.
It's called the key. I have 2 of them.
I have one now. Scott Brockway sent me one. Yes.
Yeah.
Scott Brockway. But what I did was, like, I took a photo of the bridge, and I was surprised. Like, I was like, all right, god damn, that looks pretty damn close. And it was, like, I think I got 3 of them out of the box, and the other 3 was, okay, this needs to be here, and, you do it all at once. I was, oh shit, god damn, this works. All right.
And then you got
the shadows
to deal with, and
I don't think I've ever had a guitar with a Floyd Rose on it.
When they work, they're great. If you got to do work on it inside, if you're handy like Ben, do it, because you'll have fun. I can't deal with fiddle fuck stuff.
I know I keep saying we'll end the show, but since what we had on Tone Talk there, Rob Cunningham was talking about the XT strings.
Yeah.
That's what go on this, because I hate changing strings on it. So I have strings on it. These strings have been on it for a year, and they're like brand new.
Really?
Yeah. Because I don't play it much. And they have a weird, like, the only way I could describe it is it's like they're coated in WD-40, but they're not all greasy.
Nice.
So they're coated, and you can do, because my thing is, I do pick slides. If you can't do pick slides, then they're not coated. Or if you play them, and all the coating's gone right here, what's the fucking point? They're dead right over the pickup. The worst place.
You know what's funny, Ben?
Yeah.
I get jamming and I get lost in the, whatever I'm doing, and I go to do a pick slide. And before I actually, the pick hits the strings, I'm like, am I allowed to do pick slides now? Is it cool now? Or is it still
Dude. For the same reason I put kill switch.
Oh, yeah, and you go for it.
Oh, of course.
The main reason I do pick slides is the same reason I put a kill switch in guitars, to annoy bandmates. Most of my pick slides were in Tom Petty songs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because we did
Wreck Me, right?
Wreck Me.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And so, and right before the chorus, into the pre-chorus type thing. And they're just like, sure, I'm playing a fucking Kramer. I'm playing Tom Petty on a Kramer to begin with, so why not? Richie's played on a jazz box.
A little bit, so let's go all the way.
Well, yeah, because we played certain songs ironically anyway. So, he's playing it. Ibanez full hollow body. I'm playing a Kramer.
Yeah.
Another gig, he's playing a Les Paul, I'm playing a Tele. Another gig, I'm playing a Les Paul, he's playing a Tele. And then this is a great thing is, hey, what are you playing on this week? He's like, I'm in Strat territory this week. I'm like, sweet, I'll play something with humbuckers. Perfect. Or,
There you go.
That
you
you
know,
didn't throw in the Ricky every now
I want
and
to
then.
play AFG. All right, fuck it, I'll play a Tele.
Yeah, you had it all covered then. That's cool.
Yep.
Yep.
Of course, the bass player would roll his eyes because we both have big pedal boards and we both bring racks with 4 or 5 guitars each. And they're like, you're playing a shitty bar for 30 people.
It's a bass player, man.
Yeah, but might as well have fun doing it.
Exactly.
You know,
You own
we
the
wanted
set.
our back line. We wanted our back line to look like Tom Petty's yard sale.
Yeah.
My dream rig was going to be I was going to use 4 112s, all different.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, so I have a 412, but it'd be 4 112s,
Yeah.
all completely different, and it'd just be a hodgepodge of amps behind us. And Rich loved the idea, and he was running stereo at that time, anyways.
Right.
And the bass player's got one little Ampeg combo thing, you know, and he's just like
That's,
with his PA, and the drummer's just
borderline bass replacement territory.
see you, Gary.
Well, I'd like to try a stereo setup with ideally 212s, two 212 cabinets, maybe 8-10 feet apart. And I think that would kill.
I was doing the Blues Deluxe and the B52 and sitting in the middle, and it was glorious. I remember at the time it was coming through on the, even over the air, you can kind of hear it a bit, even though it was only one mic, but because I was running in stereo, for some reason it would kind of figure it out, because, you know, silicon chips and space age polymers and stuff. I don't know how this stuff works. I hit the button and then I hit it again and we're done. That's how it works.
There you go.
It's like John, I prefer to keep it analog whenever possible.
Well, for
That's
sure.
why I can't believe I'm looking at like digital pedals and stuff like that. But as long as they trick me into thinking they're analog, John, that's the key, right?
Well, you know what though? You can have digital pedals as long as they have an analog drive-through. So when you're not using them, it's an analog signal, right?
Well, and like I need an easy interface. You know, like keep it like you can put all the voodoo you want inside that box, but as long as the tactileness is still simple and easy,
Yeah.
awesome.
But again, every one of us are different. Like Pete Thorne went back to the timeline from Strymon from a DD500. DD500 makes total sense to me. The menus and all the rest of it, it's like 10 seconds. I could dial in anything you want, right? From digital to analog to, you know, bit crushing and all that stuff. But it's all how we interface with our gear, right?
Very true. All right, folks.
Anyways, it's time
We
to go.
will see y'all tomorrow night. Like I say, myself and Terry, and then Soda Pop video, some kind of rebuild video. Any other videos? No, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I got to think of it. That's pre-production. Pre-production is me going, what do I need to do? And then I do it. And that's the production. And then there's the post-production. And then this is marketing. Advertising, hype, sure. 35 people. Awesome. If you haven't already, please give a thumbs up. And if you're new and still watching at this point, please subscribe. You mazel. You mazel. Just saying. You mazel. So it's been Randy, Trev, Hep, John. I'm Ben. You're still
Rock
all
on.
you. I
Right
say
on.
we will see you later, but unless you put out content, we don't see you. That's how it works.
See you next week, boys. And tomorrow.
Exactly.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Where's the end? There it is, over here. So you got to hold the doors open. Let Doug's wife ahead of you in traffic. Do good things because she's real. She is. We were discussing earlier the vacation, and she's like, "Why all the beer?" He's here because she's real. She was there, hence all the beer consumption.
Just gotta make it make sense. That's all.
Exactly. So be good to each other. Happy tone chasing as always. Look for those deals. They're out there. CGS, love you, Mike. You insomniac, you.
Right on. Cool.
See you guys.
Stay cool, hosers.
And of
Thanks,
course,
man.
Later.
I appreciate the invite.
don't litter.